in the media. It means what he was saying yesterday, what was message was being conveyed, that he'll go to Atal Ji's Samadhi और मैं प्यार की दुकान चलाना चाहता हूँ. That's all hypocrisy. Otherwise, a person who is going to pay his regard to Atal Ji and then his party will do some act like this. This categorically states that हाथी के दांत दिखाने के कुछ और हैं, खाने के कुछ और हैं.
देखिए, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी एक साहित्यकार थे, एक कवि थे, एक पत्रकार हैं, देश के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री रहे, भारत रत्न, एक अच्छे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर रहे, पर उससे भी ज़्यादा अच्छा है कि वो सबसे अच्छे इंसान थे. और वाजपेयी जी ने जिस तरह से देश को जोड़ा, और आप देखते हैं कि उन्होंने प्रधानमंत्री रहते हुए भी जिस तरह से परमाणु विस्फोट कर देश का मान बढ़ाया था, सड़कों का अगर कोई देन है सबसे बड़ी बात, नेशनल हाईवेज़ वगैरह, वो वाजपेयी जी की हैं. और वाजपेयी जी वो शख्सियत हैं जो दलगत राजनीति से ऊपर हैं. तो इसलिए दलगत राजनीति से ऊपर उठकर लोग उनको समर्थन अपना देते हैं और हर पार्टी के नेता उनको
आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा सर कि हर एक पार्टी के लोग उनका सम्मान करते हैं. आज राहुल गांधी जी भी उनकी समाधि में गए तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि उनकी इज्जत क्या है. लेकिन सर ऐसे कुछ नेता है कांग्रेस के जो अभी भी उन पे मतलब चीनाकशी कर रहे हैं, जो कुछ बोल रहे हैं कि वो आरएसएस से मतलब इन्वॉल्व थे, उन्होंने नैली मासिकर में इन्वॉल्व थे, बाबरी मस्जिद में मतलब उनका योगदान था. तो इन मामलों में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
मैं समझता हूँ जो लोग भी उनकी आलोचना करते हैं वो वाजपेयी जी को जानते नहीं हैं. जी, वाजपेयी जी जैसा महान पुरुष कभी कभी पैदा होता है.
युग पुरुष श्रद्धेय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी अजातशत्रु के तौर पर भारत की राजनीति में स्थापित हुए. जितनी भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी हैं सभी पार्टियों में उनके चाहने वाले थे और उन्होंने भारतीय राजनीति को एक नई दिशा दी, जिसके लिए पूरा देश आज उनका ऋणी है.
आपने कहा कि हर एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के लोग उनको चाहते थे, लेकिन आज हमने देखा कि एक कांग्रेस के नेता ने उन पे मतलब टिप्पणी की है, बोले हैं कि वो आरएसएस से इन्वॉल्व थे, उनका कोई योगदान नहीं था, उन्होंने मतलब डांडी मार्च में आरएसएस से इन्वॉल्व थे, उन्होंने मतलब आज़ादी में उनका योगदान नहीं था. तो इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, देश में जिस तरीके से हर पार्टी में उनके चाहने वाले थे, तो कहीं ना कहीं मूर्खों की भी कमी नहीं है. उसके ऊपर टिप्पणी करना, अपने शब्दों को जाया करना है. आरएसएस का एक अपना इतिहास रहा है. इस देश के गर्व और गौरव की जितनी भी वस्तुएं हैं उनके लिए आरएसएस ने सदैव काम किया है. और पूरा देश आज 800 साल की गुलामी के बाद, चाहे मुग़ल रहे हों, अंग्रेज रहे हों, और अंग्रेज़ों के बाद उन दोनों के वर्ण संकर कांग्रेसियों के बाद आज इस देश के गर्व और गौरव की जितनी भी वस्तुएं हैं, जिसका एक थॉट आरएसएस और आरएस समर्थित लोगों के पास था, आज उस दिशा के ऊपर देश चल रहा है और देश विश्वगुरु बनने की ओर अग्रसर हो रहा है.
तो मेरा आखिरी सवाल आपसे ये है, वो लोग जो आरएसएस की आलोचना करते हैं और आरएसएस के बदले वाजपेयी जी पे आलोचना करते हैं, उसमें आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, जब हाथी चलता है तो पीछे कुत्ते भौंकते हैं, उनकी परवाह नहीं करनी चाहिए. हालांकि ये भद्दी टिप्पणी है, लेकिन यही वास्तविक टिप्पणी उस पर लागू होती है.
So will the Congress party act and speak up against their leader who's tweeted that kind of a comment about Atal Bihari Vajpayee? We are tracking that story. But this is not the end of controversy this Sunday. Remember, there is another controversy. This is being stoked by actor Kamal Haasan just a day after he's seen walking and sitting next to Rahul Gandhi in the Bharat Jodo Yatra. The actor now has jumped into the language debate. In a tweet, he says imposing Hindi on others is ignorant. In fact, I'm just quoting from his tweet. He says, "Mother tongue is our birthright. Learning and using other languages is done by personal choice. This has been the right of South India," he says, "for 75 years. Northeast will reflect the same. To develop Hindi and impose it on others," he says, "is ignorant. What is imposed will be opposed," unquote. And Kamal Haasan is not an aberration, because you would recall that Rahul Gandhi, while he was moving through his Bharat Jodo Yatra, earlier has also spoken about the Hindi versus the English divide, and he in fact said that there is an attempt by the present BJP government to ensure that the poor remains poor. The reason why they only want them not to learn English but only learn Hindi. So does this mean that there is a pattern in which Rahul Gandhi thinks vis-a-vis the Hindi language?
ये नहीं चाहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान का गरीब, किसान का बेटा, मजदूर का बेटा अंग्रेजी सीखे। इसका कारण है क्योंकि वो चाहते हैं कि आप बड़े सपने ना देखो, मगर अगर आप बाकी दुनिया से बात करना चाहते हो, चाहे वो अमेरिका के लोग हों, जापान के लोग हों, इंग्लैंड के लोग हों, तो वहां हिंदी काम नहीं आएगी, वहां अंग्रेजी ही काम आएगी।
So what really is the Congress party stand on that story? Again, like I said, we'll keep you on top of that. Let's quickly shift our focus to get you more details of another story. Another story that has shocked everyone. A story of a 20-year-old who commits suicide. She was, remember, acting. She was a part of the TV industry in Mumbai. This is actor Tunisha, who actually commits suicide in her own set. Now, people are wondering what possibly could have happened. Is this a result of a breakup that she had reportedly about 15 days ago? And the reason why the police now, remember, is picking up statements of a lot of people, a lot of co-actors. And one of them already has been arrested by the police. He's been sent to 4 days of custody. Let's also listen in to the family, the friends, the co-workers who've spoken to Republic, also the investigators who tell us more of the leads on the case so far.
कभी बताया था कि उसके साथ कैसा व्यवहार हो रहा है, क्या चल रहा है उसकी ज़िंदगी में, क्यों परेशान है वो?
पहले उन दोनों का काफ़ी अच्छा था, चल रहा था जब से
टाइम से
पिछले 2-3 महीने से, जब से ये शो शुरू हुआ था। लेकिन अभी पिछले 15 दिन पहले, अभी 8-10 दिन पहले तुनिशा को एक एंजाइटी अटैक आया था। तो उसने बोला कि मेरे साथ चीटिंग हुई है, मेरे साथ गलत हुआ है और ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है वो, यही सब बात हुई। उसके बाद फिर अभी ये अचानक से फिर ये हो गया।
यानी कि उसने पहले बताया था आप लोगों को कि उसकी ज़िंदगी में क्या
उसने बताया था उसने।
क्या कभी ये भी कहा?
मम्मी से हर बात शेयर करती थी। उसने बताया था कि उनकी अच्छी दोस्ती है, तो हमें भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी कि ठीक है, एक साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है।
लेकिन इतना बड़ा स्टेप उठाना लगता है
नहीं पता था कि ऐसा हो जाएगा। पता नहीं क्या हुआ, वो जो पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी, जो उसमें आएगा, वो लोग
तो शिजान के वकील कह रहे हैं कि भाई ठीक है, जो था वो था, लेकिन ब्रेकअप हो चुका था इस घटना के पहले, तो शिजान का कोई दोष नहीं बनता। आपको भी ऐसा लगता है क्या?
अब दोष नहीं बनता तो कोई इतना बड़ा अगर कदम उठा रहा है तो उसके साथ क्या हुआ होगा, कुछ तो हुआ होगा ना। अगर कोई इतना बड़ा कदम उठाता है अपनी जान देने का, तो कुछ तो हुआ होगा ना। जो पुलिस, देखिए पुलिस क्या इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी, अभी हमें भी नहीं पता क्या हुआ सेट पे। हम लोग सीधा हॉस्पिटल गए तो वहाँ पे तुनिशा हमें मिली, तो तब तक वो नहीं थी।
सेट पर जो लोग काम करते हैं उनका ये कहना था कि भाई तुनिशा बहुत सीरियस थी शिजान को लेकर के, उतनी सीरियस शिजान नहीं थी उनको लेकर के। क्या आप लोगों ने भी ये महसूस किया?
हाँ, मम्मी ने और तुनिशा की मम्मी ने उसको समझाया था कि बेटा अगर ब्रेकअप भी है, जो भी है, पहले तो आप इतना ज़्यादा क्लोज आए, अब अचानक से एकदम से दूर जा रहे हो, तो फिर वो 20 साल की है सिर्फ, तो वो इतनी समझ नहीं है उसमें अभी। तो थोड़ा पहले आप घर बुलाते थे, आपकी मम्मी भी बुलाती थी, सब बुलाते थे, अब अचानक से क्या हो गया, तो वो इसी स्ट्रेस में थी पिछले 10-15 दिन।
शिजान ने कारण क्या गिनवाया, क्यों ब्रेकअप कर रहे हैं?
पता नहीं, आई थिंक उसने बोला मेरी लाइफ में कोई और है पहले से, या कुछ, या फिर तुनिशा को कुछ पता चला हो, जो भी, बस वो मुझे इंटरनल नहीं पता। पुलिस अभी उनके चैट्स चेक करेगी, फ़ोन्स चेक करेगी, तो पता चलेगा। दोनों के फ़ोन पुलिस के पास ही हैं।
एंजाइटी का जो अटैक आया था, फिर कोई ट्रीटमेंट दिया था आप लोगों ने तुनिशा को इससे उबरने के लिए?
या वो लोग सेट वाले ही, शूटिंग वाले लोग हॉस्पिटल लेके गए थे, हम लोग वहाँ गए, तो रात तक एडमिट किया था उसको, रात में हम लोग घर ले गए थे।
अभी इस मामले को आप लोग कहाँ तक लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि इसको लोग लव जिहाद मान रहे हैं कि शिजान ने जानबूझकर ऐसा किया एक मासूम लड़की के साथ?
वो मुझे नहीं पता, बट अगर कोई दोषी है तो उसको कानून के हिसाब से सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें पूरा भरोसा है अपने लॉ पे, सो वी विल फॉलो द लॉ।
तुनिशा शर्मा सुसाइड केस मामले को लेकर के तमाम जो सनसनीखेज चीज़ जो है वो सामने आ रही है। इसी बीच मेरे साथ शहजान के लॉयर जो हैं वो जुड़ चुके हैं, रुपेश जी जुड़ चुके हैं। रुपेश जी बताइए कि किस प्रकार का आर्गुमेंट आज कोर्ट में हुआ, क्या कुछ दलीलें जो है वो दी गई थी?
उनको 7 डेज़ का रिमांड चाहिए था। हमारी तरफ से था कि रिमांड की इतना नेसेसरी नहीं है। जो भी डेटा है, डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, वो सारे चीज़ तो आयोग को प्रोवाइड की गई है। इसके लिए हम कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में और आगे भी करते रहेंगे।
पुलिस की तरफ से क्या कुछ बातें कही गई थी? आरोप लगाया जा रहा है 15 दिन पहले जो है ब्रेकअप हुआ था, जिसके बाद जो है ये कदम फांसी लगाने की जो कदम है वो उसने उठाया।
देखिए, ये सब केस है, उनका केस है। अब वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन करके उसका रिपोर्ट आएगा। हम हमारे तरफ से सारा चीज़ें बता रहे हैं। मेरिट्स आपके सामने, सबके सामने आएगा। जो सच है वो ऑटोमेटिकली आएगा, रिपोर्ट्स के दौरान आएगी। तो अभी मेरिट्स में मुझे कहना सही नहीं है।
लेकिन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में क्या, कोर्ट में क्या कुछ बातें आप लोगों ने क्या दलील रखी, उसके बारे में बताइए।
हमने फुल कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में। जो उनको इंक्वायरी चाहिए, जैसा मोबाइल चाहिए, जो डिटेल चाहिए, हमने सब दिया है। हमारी तरफ से कहीं भी हम कम नहीं पड़ रहे हैं।
जो आरोप लगाया गया है कि वो हरेस करता था, मारपीट करता था, वो सच है?
नहीं, ऐसा कोई
परिवार की तरफ से
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं। कोई ऐसा एलिगेशंस पे कोई भी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, ना कोई है, और ऐसा कुछ एलिगेशंस पे कोई सवाल भी नहीं हुआ है बेसिकली। बट ये चीज़ सब गलत है। जो भी हमने सब सारा सिचुएशंस कोर्ट के सामने भी रखा, पुलिस स्टेशन में भी रखा हुआ है, और हमारी तरफ से सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हम दे रहे हैं। बाकी रियल फैक्ट आपके सामने कुछ ही दिनों में आ जाएगा।
नाला सोपारा के एसीपी माननीय चंद्रकांत जाधव जी हैं। तुनिशा शर्मा सुसाइड केस को लेकर के इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी। आज 4 दिनों की कस्टडी जो है वो दे दी गई है। एसीपी साहब, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे किस प्रकार से आप लोगों को इस बारे में जानकारी मिली, कैसे जो है पुलिस ने जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन?
हमें हॉस्पिटल से इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला था, तो वहाँ पे पुलिस पहुँच गई। बाद में पुलिस ने डेड बॉडी को इंक्वेस्ट पंचनामा करके हॉस्पिटल भिजवाया।
मौके वारदात पे आपने क्या क्या देखा, किस तरीके से उसके गले पर निशान था, क्या कुछ आया?
हाँ, गले पे तो निशान था, हैंगिंग की वजह से गले पे निशान था, और पोस्टमार्टम हुआ है उसका।
पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट में क्या कुछ चीज़ें जो है वो सामने आई? अगर आप
पोस्टमार्टम में उसका डेथ ड्यू टू हैंगिंग आया हुआ है।
प्रेगनेंसी की बात कही जा रही है, क्या प्रेगनेंसी को लेकर के ऐसे कुछ सबूत
नहीं? ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है।
अभी तक इस मामले में कितने लोगों से पूछताछ की गई है, क्या कुछ कर रही है?
पूछताछ जारी है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन पार्ट।
लैपटॉप और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एविडेंसेस जो हैं वो सीज किए हैं, क्या व्हाट्सएप चैट्स वगैरह भी एक्सट्रैक्ट करेंगे?
नहीं, 2 मोबाइल सीज किए हैं, उनको दोनों के ताबे में है, पुलिस तपास कर रही है।
व्हाट्सएप मैसेजेस आप लोग एग्जामिन कर रहे हैं?
वो सब करेंगे, जो पुलिस का पार्ट है, जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन का, वो पूरा करेगी।
प्राइमा फेसी आपको क्या लग रहा है?
वही तो, उसका ब्रेकअप होने के बाद उसने आत्महत्या कर दी है, ये अभी फिलहाल है।
So do remember, still a lot of unanswered questions on that story. Did something happen on the sets that forced Tanisha to actually commit suicide? We'll continue to track that story. We'll also have more updates. Also on the other side, the other story that the world today is closely looking at. What really is happening in China? Why has China stopped releasing the daily COVID numbers? What is the truth behind the reality? We get you these videos that you see on your screens, the full story after the break. Also, Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand, Raksha Mantri says will solve the dispute together.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking, and proactive professionals.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharati Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है, समझा देते हैं, प्यार से समझाएंगे। ये तो अपनी जुबान है।
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होने चाहिए। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on Republic. We are putting our focus on a story that was broken just about yesterday. A Mathura court, remember, has passed an order in the Christian Bhumi Shahid Ka case for a survey now to be held on the disputed site. The court has issued notices to all the parties here. It's also said that they have been asked to comply with the court's order. The order is on the same lines as the Varanasi court that had also ordered a videographic survey earlier of the Gyanvapi Masjid. Republic is on ground zero, speaking to all the stakeholders in the case.
अयोध्या मथुरा माया काशी कांची अवंतिका पुरी द्वारावती चैवा सप्तता मोक्षदायिका मोक्ष को प्रदान करने वाली ऐसी धरती पर चला आ रहा विवाद अब सुलझने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ रहा है। दरअसल हिंदू सेना की तरफ से एक याचिका लगाई गई थी। उस याचिका को लेकर कल एक बड़ा फैसला आया और बताया गया कि अब इसका अमीनी द्वारा सर्वे कराया जाएगा। अमीन इसका सर्वे करेगा और सर्वे करने के बाद जो 13.37 एकड़ की जमीन है उसको लेकर एक मानचित्र तैयार किया जाएगा और बताया जाएगा कि आखिर कितनी जमीन जो है वो हिंदू पक्ष की है और कितनी मुस्लिम पक्ष की है। इसको कर अब कहीं ना कहीं ये कहा जा सकता है कि रास्ता जो है वो धीरे धीरे साफ होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। इस विवाद को सुलझाने की दिशा में अब काम आगे बढ़ता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है। अब देखने वाली बात होगी 20 तारीख का 20 जनवरी डेट तय की गई है अगली सुनवाई की कोर्ट ने और उस तारीख तक ये जो रिपोर्ट है वो अमीन को वहां पर सर्वे करने के बाद सौंपनी होगी। उसके बाद आगे की प्रक्रियाओं पर काम शुरू होता हुआ नजर आएगा। अभी आने वाला वक्त बताएगा कि आखिर इस दिशा में जो काम चल रहा है उसमें कितनी मजबूती और नजर आती है और हिंदू पक्ष के लिहाज से जो कल एक बड़ा फैसला आया है वो आगे किस तरह से और इस केस को मजबूती प्रदान करता है।
ये बाल कृष्ण भगवान ठाकुर जी श्री कृष्ण की तरफ से हमने ये रिट दाखिल करी है याचिका, जो दावा जिसका 839 सन 2022 नंबर है, 8 दिसंबर को हमने प्रस्तुत किया गया था माननीय न्यायालय में। इसमें हमने 3 मांगे रखी हैं। प्रथम मांग तो यह है कि 1967 में एक सूट फाइल हुआ था इस शाहिद गाँव को लेकर, जिसमें कि आपस में कंप्रोमाइज़ हो गया। वो कंप्रोमाइज़ किया गया था श्री कृष्ण जन्मस्थान सोसाइटी के द्वारा, जबकि किसी जन्मस्थान सोसाइटी को कंप्रोमाइज़ करने का कोई अधिकार नहीं था। तो एक तो हमने उसको वॉइड शून्य घोषित कराने के लिए किया है कि वो वॉइड है। दूसरा हमने कहा है कि जो हमारी भूमि पर ठाकुर जी की पे जो शाहिद का अवैध निर्माण बना हुआ है इसको डेमोलिश करके हमारे पोजेशन में दिलाया जाए। और तीसरा हमने इसमें कहा है कि जब तक ये सूट चले पेंडिंग है उस दौरान वहाँ की मौके की स्थिति को यथास्थिति में रखा जाए, उसमें कोई इंजंक्शन ग्रांट किया जाए। कोर्ट ने विस्तार से हमारी आर्गूमेंट सुने, सारी बातें सुनी। उसमें उन्होंने एक पक्षीय इंजंक्शन देने से तो इनकार किया।
इस मामले को लेकर कि लगभग 15 मुकदमे पेंडिंग है और सिविल जज सीनियर डिवीजन से लेकर तमाम कोर्टों में ये चल रहे हैं। और मथुरा जनपद की जो सबसे बड़ी अदालत है जिला जज साहब के यहाँ, उनकी अभी इस तरह के मामले चल रहे हैं। किसी भी अदालत ने जब भी मुकदमे फाइल हुए, पहले रेस्पोंडेंट को, जो भी उन्होंने पार्टी बनाई, उन सबको नोटिस जारी किया। यहाँ बड़े आश्चर्य की बात यह है कि 8 दिसंबर को एक केस फाइल किया गया और वहाँ नियम अनुसार हमको नोटिस जारी होने थे, हमें नोटिस मिलते तो हम वहाँ जाते। 8 तारीख को ही बताते हैं, आदेश कर दिया कि था अमीन वहाँ जाएँ और मौके का निरीक्षण करें। और उस 8 तारीख के आदेश को छुपा के रखा गया और 24 तारीख को एक समाचार पत्र में ये प्रकाशित हुआ कि था वो अमीन रिपोर्ट के आदेश हो गए। बल्कि समाचार पत्र ने तो और ज़्यादा लिख दिया, उन्होंने सर्वे क्या लिख दिया, जबकि सर्वे की उसमें कोई ऐसी बात नहीं थी, भ्रम की स्थिति उन्होंने उत्पन्न कर दी। लेकिन जब ये मालूम पड़ा कि ये आदेश हुआ है, तो चूंकि अब न्यायालय बंद हो चुके हैं, कोर्ट बंद हो चुके हैं, 2 तारीख को खुलेंगे, तो 2 तारीख को हम अपना पक्ष रखेंगे। इस ऑर्डर को रिकॉल कराने के लिए, स्टे कराने के लिए जो विधिक प्रक्रिया होगी, जो कानूनन लीगली स्टेप होंगे, वो हम लोग लेंगे।
दिक्कत क्या है? अगर अमीन वहाँ सर्वे करता भी है, जांच भी करता है और रिपोर्ट बनाकर कोर्ट में सबमिट करता है, तो इसमें क्या दिक्कत है?
नहीं, देखिए 2 चीज़ है। पहले जिन्होंने मुकदमा दायर किया, पहले वो तो साबित करें वो उनको मुकदमा दायर करने का अधिकार है या नहीं। उन्होंने किस अधिकार के तहत मुकदमा दायर किया है? ना तो वो 13 एकड़ से
मुकदमा तो कोई भी हो, किसी को भी अधिकार है, कोर्ट ने दिया है कानून में ये अधिकार है कि अगर मैं चाहूँ तो किसी भी मसले को लेकर मुकदमा दायर कर सकता।
नहीं, उसके लिए आपको मैं वही कह रहा हूँ मित्र, 711 CPC का एक प्रावधान है जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसमें ये होल्ड किया है कि पहले मुकदमे में कोई कार्रवाई होने से पहले ये तय हो जाना चाहिए।
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
अब जियो मार्ट की ग्रैंड फिनाले सेल में फूड और ग्रोसरीज पे मिलेगा अप टू 50% ऑफ। तो साल जैसा भी गया हो, एंडिंग तो जबरदस्त होगी।
क्या हुआ रोहन, क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया, पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो, एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए।
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी जरूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? रिया, अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है, जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
What made you think about working towards rural empowerment? Why did you think
we needed it.
Actually, Swadesh, in a thought process and a germ, started 30 years back. In the beginning, it was more about being opportunistic about giving back and then looking at rural India. There was a lot happening in urban places, and therefore we felt rural was not totally, it was ignored to quite an extent.
स्वदेश फाउंडेशन ने देश के आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अवसर पर 75 गांवों को ड्रीम विलेज यानी सपनों का गांव घोषित किया है। संपूर्ण विकसित राष्ट्र और आत्मनिर्भर भारत के संकल्पित दिशा में रखा हुआ यह एक सराहनीय और सकारात्मक कदम है।
What we really want to do is we want to create a model for rural development. Our dream is not, it's a big dream. Okay, I mean, we want to lift 1 million people out of poverty every 5 years.
The Swadesh initiative is a 360-degree holistic model, which addresses healthcare, education, water, sanitation.
We follow a 4E strategy at Swadesh, and 4E stands for first engage, then empower, execute and exit.
Their model is a holistic model which covers education, healthcare, agriculture, livelihoods and entrepreneurs.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Republic TV. I'm Niranjan Narayan Swami and you're watching the second episode of Swadesh Foundation's Swa Se Bane Desh, an initiative towards rural empowerment. In today's episode, we will dive even deeper into the various initiatives of the Swadesh Foundation and talk about some of the key areas they are working towards. With us in the studio today, we have Ronnie Screwvala, we have Zarina Screwvala, and they are the co-founders of Swadesh Foundation, Mr. Mangesh Wange, who's the CEO at Swadesh. Welcome to the show, Ronnie. Welcome to the show, Zarina and Mr. Mangesh.
Again. We
Thank
had a good chat some time back on the other
Fantastic
first episode.
Chat.
And yeah.
Let me start straight with Ronnie. You spoke about a lot on exit policy, which is basically making villages Atmanirbhar, self-reliant.
Yes.
Right? How do you make sure the change that you make in a village is permanent? And how do you know this is the right time to exit a village? And what after that?
At the core for everyone, where do we really take charge of ourselves? When we're in control of our own destiny. And I think what people in rural feel is that they're not in control of their own destiny. So when we walk in there, that's what we size up. And when we walk out, we want them to be very clear they are independent. So one, the minute you give them water and sanitation, they just feel they're on par with people. Then you look at the fact that education, which is the most important thing that any parent would think about for their future generation, something they didn't have.
Yes.
But now they feel they need to give.
Yes.
And if you're moving as a nation as the third largest economy in the world, this is going to be at the core.
Yes.
Health, unfortunately, is a perennial problem. But finally, at the end of the day, to put money in the pocket of people, to feel you're in control of your own destiny is really the core. That's the holy grail.
Zarina, you've been speaking about the multiplier effect. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about the multiplier effect, especially in areas like healthcare. He spoke a little bit about that. What is this multiplier effect and how does it work?
You know, when we went to visit the villages, and in my mind, the question is, Niranjan, if I asked you, your mom's in the village, your mother lives there.
Yes.
What would she do without? What would you not do for her?
Yes.
You would try and do everything for her.
Yes.
Okay? So we took it on, and it is hard, but we decided to have a holistic approach. And the multiplier effect is very beautiful to see. It's obvious, but it's not also. So for example, when we first gave a tap in every home, drinking water in every home, and a toilet, an individual household toilet in every home, one of the most surprising aspects for me, of course, the health improved. But one day, all these ladies started walking towards me. I went to the village and they were walking very purposely purposively. So I got a little like, what's going on? So they came and said, you've given us water and you've given us a toilet. And now, and I was thinking, what? We have a lot of time. We want to work.
Wow.
And they started building their SAGs. So this was the beginning of women's empowerment.
Yeah.
So an individual household and toilet and tap water leads to ladies having time, energy and the ability to earn for themselves. And when we first started, Niranjan, we were media people.
Yes.
What do we know about poverty? What is poverty? Okay? And then as Ronnie said, we took a year to study and we realized there are two kinds of poverty. One is material poverty and one is mental poverty. And Niranjan, the mental poverty is critical to solve. What is mental poverty? It is the lack of an ability to dream of a better future for myself and my children. And for me, and for Ronnie, and for all of us at Swadesh, that is the most heartbreaking thing about poverty. When we can remove that,
Yes.
and you can see, when you see the videos of the dream villages, you can see the hope shining in the faces of the dream villages. And that's our real strength, and that is what we do, and I think that's our real achievement.
Yes.
We brought hope back.
And that's the real India that we don't really talk about in our day-to-day narrative, right? And on that note, let's listen into what Vidya Balan has to say about the impact access to clean water and sanitation has on people and its growing necessity in rural India.
How much impact can clean water and sanitation have on anyone? I think I can go on and on and on about that. But I think while everyone gets impacted, it is the women whose lives change first. It's fantastic, therefore, that the Swadesh Foundation has built, 26,500 toilets, which has impacted more than 1 lakh. I think it's almost 1,15,000 people. And they've also, I think, managed to bring about a positive change within the Adivasi community. There have been additional efforts made, and which I have fructified also. And I think access to potable water has been provided through taps in almost 42,000 homes, impacting more than 2 lakh people. And I think this is just absolutely fantastic. Boon boon se banta hai sagar, and they are actually making a sea change in the lives of all those villagers in the larger community and in the country, therefore. I think just amazing. It's absolutely amazing, the work that the Swadesh Foundation is doing, and more power to them for that.
One of the key factors in Swadesh Foundation's agenda of rural development is providing a sustainable source for water and sanitation. Let's watch this amazing story.
A long and dangerous trek to fetch a bucket of water was a daily routine for the women of Vasunde Dhangarwada. The unavailability of water, along with a lack of sanitation and road connectivity, made the life of the villagers miserable. Women like Lalita have spent their entire life just fetching water day in and day out, leaving them completely exhausted and deprived of quality family time.
पाणी भरताना आमचे लय म्हणजे लय त्रास व्हायचा. येता येता रस्त्यात पडायचो बी किती. पाणी पियाला मिळत नसायचं. डिलिव्हरी झाली तर पाणी नसायचं. मग ते बाईने काय करायचं? तसलं लहान बाळ ठेवून शेणी 4 किलोमीटर पाणी भरायला जायचं.
The arrival of Swadesh Foundation was like a blessing for the people of Vasunde Dhangarwada. Swadesh provided water to every household through connected taps. With water connectivity at home, the women now had more time for their family and other productive work.
आम्हाला एवढं सुख वाटलंय. आम्हाला सगळं शेतीचं काम का गुरांचं काम याच्यात सगळं मुलांच्या शिक्षणासाठी का आमचं लेकरू लहान असलं तरी त्यामध्ये आनंदाने घेऊन बसतो सुखाने. नाहीतर आम्हाला हे सुख अजिबात लाभन असं इच्छा नव्हती, पण आता आम्ही सुखी आहोत.
Today, the people of Vasunde Dhangarwada are not only working towards the development of their village, but also sharing a part of the water they get with the neighboring Adivasi community, thus living up to the true philosophy of Swa se bane des.
That was really a moving story, and hats off to the entire Swadesh team, Ronnie, Mangesh and Zarina. Hats off to all of you for the change that you've brought to the lives of these villagers. Now, before I come back to you and the panel here in the Republic TV studios, let's first listen into Kaushik Shaparia, the CEO of Deutsche Bank India, on what made them associate the group with the Swadesh Foundation.
Well, at the outset, I should mention that Deutsche Bank is really committed to India growth story, which is not only supporting its economy, but also enabling its communities to prosper. And as responsible corporate citizens, we really need to work with the right NGOs, along with our own staff members, towards programs which we support. With Swadesh, we've been working for the last 6 years which has enabled us to work with rural households by providing basic access to clean water, water for irrigation, which has really enabled us to transform life of 55,000 people. This year has been really a monumental year for us, where we have planted 1 lakh trees to provide additional income for farmers over their non-cultivable land. This, along with the volunteering work done by our staff members towards planting of trees, as well as working with rural children to provide support towards their basic communication skills as well as financial literacy, has made this program a real success. I really feel that Swadesh, its leadership team, Ronnie, Zarina, Mangesh, and every member of the team, I think the passion with which they work is really exemplary. I would really like to acknowledge Swadesh Foundation for its brilliant work it does towards the rural transformation journey. I wish them great luck towards the 75 dream villages, and really grateful to them for having a Deutsche Bank partner with them on this exciting journey.
Well, that was Kaushik Shaparia, the CEO of Deutsche Bank India. Coming back to Zarina now. Zarina, education is one of the most important factors for any individual, right? Without education, I mean, you can't dream, you can't aspire. Now, the Swadesh Foundation's education drive has impacted, and I have some of the numbers, more than 1.3 lakh children in 1,361 schools, 806 Anganwadis, 41 junior colleges. Now, how important do you think education is for the nurturing of the future of villages?
It's vital. What can I say? And as you so rightly said just now, that it's not about just reading and writing. It's about creativity. It's about problem solving. It's about building confidence. It is about dealing with people, working in groups. There's so much to education that we don't, it's the most vital thing, I think. It's one of the most vital things. One of the things we've realized is that we really need to get the community involved in the education of their children. And the other day, I think one of our favorite, at least my favorite program, one of them, many, is the scholarship program. And the other day, all of us at Swadesh met some of our graduate study scholarship. And it was really moving because Ronnie asked them, introduce yourselves, tell us your dream. So they started getting up, and somebody got up and said, I am Dr. Priyanka now.
Oh.
Yeah, I am Dr. Surbi now. These are real girls, and we all clapped, everyone clapped. And they have dreams.
Just to add, one more thing we observed, all these kids, during COVID, they did not sit back at home. They went back to villages, many of them. They were already in villages also. They taught younger kids because schools were closed on their own.
We call them bridging classes.
No one told them. They started doing bridging classes.
On that note, let's watch the story of how Swadesh Foundation is aspiring the youth to dream for a better future.
Bhumika was always a meritorious student, but a financial crunch in the family meant she might have to drop out of school, cutting short her dreams. Her dreams got new wings when she was introduced to Swadesh Foundation's Mass Scholarship program, which allowed her to pursue further studies.
स्वदेश फाउंडेशन आमच्या गावात आले होते आणि त्यांच्या स्कॉलरशिपपासूनच मी पुढचे शिक्षण घेऊ शकले. मला पुढे फॅशन डिझायनर व्हायचं आहे. मी स्वदेश फाउंडेशनच्या मदतीमुळे मी माझे हे स्वप्न पूर्ण करू शकते.
Swadesh Foundation has been working actively towards providing a quality education in rural Maharashtra. They have impacted more than 1.3 lakh children through their holistic approach of development, which includes providing scholarships to training teachers and staff and upgrading institutional infrastructure. Bhumika is not only working hard towards achieving her dream, she also voluntarily conducts bridging classes for kids so no one misses out on education in her village as a way of giving back to her community.
Well, it's truly an aspiring story, and lakhs of students like Bhumika can now dare to dream of a better future. It's time for a short break now, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching a special broadcast on Republic TV of Swadesh Foundation's Swa Se Bane Des. It's a special broadcast. Ronnie, Zarina and Mangesh are in our studios. Take a short break. Come back soon.
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है, समझा देते हैं, प्यार से समझाएंगे। ये तो अपनी जुबान है।
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होने चाहिए। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharati Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Whenever I had ice cream or cold water, I would experience a sharp shooting sensation. So I just kept ignoring it. Even my hot chai was giving me the same amount of discomfort. My dentist recommended Sensodyne. So now I can be completely carefree and sip my hot cup of tea. It really works.
Guys, just 1 second. Choosing a car for my mom.
What? Online car shopping? Wow, that's so cool, yeah.
Shahrukh ne bataya.
Wait up. Booking a car service.
From here.
क्यों? तुझे शाहरुख ने नहीं बताया?
इसने पूछा ही नहीं. There's so much more जो शाहरुख ने नहीं बताया. It's all on the industry first My Hyundai app. Open a world of possibility with My Hyundai app. One app, many worlds.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
Welcome back to the special broadcast of Swadesh Foundation's Swa Se Bane Desh in association with Republic TV. Ronnie, healthcare, we've been speaking about it. One of the biggest concerns in rural India, access to quality healthcare or healthcare at all. What are the steps taken by your foundation and how is it helping create a sustainable healthcare system in these villages?
So I think at the core of it, when we started off, there is an ASHA worker in every village, right? And we sort of merge that into what we would call our Swadesh Mitras or our Swadesh Mitras. And I think at the core, that accessibility to have a one person who's going to be the point person for everyone was a good starting point to create that comfort level. Second, I think health is complicated because it's multiple. So there's a lot of self-care that needs to take place. One was the prenatal and postnatal part, which is the most life-threatening in many aspects. The second obviously was anemia and malnutrition and everything to do with that. And then the third one was eye care. And then the one other one which we really touched our hearts and we wanted to be was when it came to infants or young kids. So either hearing impaired, visually impaired, which is almost like blind, or orally impaired, and heart. These four, we take care of it in a holistic manner, diagnose the people at that early stage. If you have to do an open heart surgery, whatever it takes to get there, to get them back to a life that they know they can take forward.
We wanted to also touch generally the village, primary healthcare generally in the village. These are community volunteers, 2,000 women we have trained, of which 60% are still active over the last 10 years.
And what does a Mitra do?
So she goes from door to check on certain parameters. She has a kit. She's a very proud woman and she's really a leader of the village now.
One is Swadesh Mitra is like a frontline healthcare volunteer.
Correct.
So the basic primary health care, and they have this kit. Second part is creating awareness about good health habits in the village, cleanliness, hygiene. And during COVID, we have seen the fantastic work which these Swadesh Mitras have done.
Really amazing.
And especially in the first wave.
No, it makes sense now. Makes sense. And talking about healthcare, let's listen into Dr. Devi Shetty, founder, chairman, Narayana Health, on Swadesh Foundation's drive on improving healthcare in rural areas and how they are making it sustainable.
As a senior doctor of the country, I have been witnessing thousands of NGOs working at the rural healthcare front, and they're doing a fantastic job. But among all of them, I'm really, really impressed with the way Swadesh has gone around in trying to address the problem of grassroots level of malnutrition and other health problems affecting the children. Overall, Swadesh has done a wonderful job, and I would like to congratulate each and every member of Swadesh for doing the God's work. Thank you.
Such encouraging words from the man himself, Dr. Devi Shetty. Let's quickly see how the same is being implemented on the ground by the Swadesh Foundation.
When little Anushka was diagnosed with a major cardiac problem, Roshni, her mother, was completely helpless. She neither had the resource nor access to quality treatment for her child. It was during this difficult period that she got introduced to Swadesh Foundation's healthcare program. Anushka got her heart surgery done at one of the top hospitals of Mumbai and is now living a healthy life.
3-4 वेळा तर आम्ही फोर्टिसमध्ये मुलुंडमध्ये फोर्टिस हॉस्पिटलला घेऊन गेलो, पण एवढ्या वेळात आमच्याकडून एकही रुपया त्यांनी घेतला नाही. तिचं ऑपरेशन झाला व्यवस्थित, सक्सेसफुल झाला. आता तिला कोणताही त्रास नाही.
Swadesh, through its healthcare program, provides treatment for cardiac, anemia, visual and hearing related problems for children and vision care for adults. The foundation has also trained more than 2,000 community health workers called the Swadesh Mitras, who are capable of providing paramedical aid to their local community.
स्वदेश मित्र जे नेमलेले आहेत त्यांच्या माध्यमातून प्राथमिक आरोग्य केंद्रातले असणारे उपक्रम हे गावा पातळीवरती लोकांपर्यंत पोहोचवण्याकरता त्याचा चांगला उपयोग जनमानसामध्ये होत आहे.
Roshni has also volunteered as a Swadesh Mitra. Along with keeping a tab on her daughter's health, she now looks after the health of the entire village as her way of giving back to the society.
A truly commendable work done by the Swadesh Mitras like Roshni, who are taking care of the entire village. Zarina, we spoke about that. You've always talked about aspiring and aspirations being the toughest part of changing an individual or a community. We've spoken about that. Why is aspiration so important, and how do you imbibe it into their thought process?
Well, actually, you have to imbibe it into their hearts.
Yes.
Not into their head.
Yes.
You know, I think the most important work we do is to really remove this mental poverty that I spoke of earlier.
Yes.
It is really one of the most terrible things when we go to the village and we see no hope, no idea how to move forward and change anything.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we do. We build hope, we build aspiration, we allow them, we give them the tools with which to dream.
Mangesh, what are the future plans for Swadesh Foundation, and are you going to expand to other states as well? Something that I started off asking both Ronnie and Zarina.
Oh yes, so first is Raigad, where now journey is almost getting complete.
Yeah.
Now in Nashik we are kind of work in progress. It is another 3 to 4 years journey, but simultaneously we are evaluating few more districts in Maharashtra and also adjoining state of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat as well.
But Zaina mentioned earlier, the model that we're creating is something we could be happy to help other people do that.
Finally, Ronnie, your thoughts on the initiative and your message to all our viewers. I think it's on a personal note, it's been fantastic speaking to all of you and just hearing the stories and how simple ideas can change so much, right? And change the lives of so many people. You're going to touch 1 million people soon. And I wish you all the best, but your final...
Yeah, no, I think 2 messages. I think for young India, the perception that you need to have something in your bank or you need to be older to give back is a fallacy. I think when Zaina and I started, we started in our 20s and started looking at giving back. And today, the sweat equity of what people give back in volunteering in India is incredible. And the second one is we're all very, very proud of the nation that we're all building. We're very proud of where we will get in the next 5 and 7 years. But without rural and urban engagement together, and we're bringing it together, and without looking over your shoulder and seeing that somebody else is pari passu and same as you, we're not going to be able to change a country.
No, I think that's very well said, very well said. And if anything, this has been an inspiring journey and fills us with a lot of pride to know that there are people who are working relentlessly towards empowerment of the deprived. And with that, we come to the end of this final episode of Swadesh Foundation's Swa Se Bane Desh. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you,
Zarina. And thank you, Mr. Mangesh, for being a part of the show. And all the very best to the entire team at Swadesh.
And thanks to everyone on Republic TV for really taking the care, getting the sensitivity, getting the stories out from everyone. Thank
you. We're very proud to be associated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And all the best. More power to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Blanc, you're the world's greatest detective, right?
In your words, there has been a murder. The killer wouldn't hesitate to kill again if it covers their tracks.
Wow!
Well, I'm out of here.
Yeah, me too.
Lock the doors. Stay in your rooms. Everyone is in danger.
Are you calling me dangerous?
Well, we'll see.
An unshakable belief, a 360-degree holistic model of development, and a strong team of 300 people is transforming millions of lives in rural Maharashtra.
Build hope, we build aspiration, we allow them, we give them the tools with which to dream.
Catch the second episode of Swadesh Foundation's Swa Se Bane Desh at this time only on Republic TV.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
सोच रहा हूँ कमेंट्री ट्राई करूँ मैच का आखिरी बॉल तेज तूफानी डिलीवरी एक धमाकेदार शॉट और ये गया छक्का
छक्का नहीं टूटा आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MY के लेटिक्रीट टाइल एडेसिव फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा
Here, gravity and physics don't call the shots, and sound travels slower than you. This is a different kind of place. That's why we're looking for different kind of people, for whom excellence is not a job, but a way of being, be it in the sky or on the ground. We're looking for an invincible team of invincible people, people who are a cut above.
Join the Indian Air Force to be a cut above.
Top headlines right now. Even as COVID horror videos continue to emerge, China stops publishing daily COVID data. Day after scene walking in Bharat Joro, Kamal Haasan triggers language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Vadra Gandhi A takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation pays homage. Co-actor Shizan in 4-day police custody. Actor Tunisha Sharma's uncle alleges Tunisha was being harassed. Days after clashes in Tawang sector, China releases first official response, says they're ready to work with India. Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand. Rajnath says will solve the dispute together. Viewers, we are live and breaking this Sunday night. I'm Shivangi Shukla. More and more pictures of resistance coming in from Afghanistan, where Taliban-led government has been bringing in policies to suppress the women. In the latest pictures coming in from Kandahar, the male students can be seen walking out from their classes to protest the Taliban's ban on female access to higher education. Now, several students have gone on strike chanting slogans like education for all or none. Reports suggest that some university lecturers have now resigned. I repeat, the professors there have resigned from the positions. It started since 15 August 2021, when the de facto authorities barred the girls from attending secondary school and later on banned women from using parks, gyms and public bathhouses. In the recent developments, Taliban has banned women from NGOs after shutting the doors of universities for their viewers. So these are the visuals as well coming in at this point of time, where we can clearly see that protests are also emerging. In fact, there's some sort of resistance to what has happened as well, where we are coming to know that male students can be seen walking out from their classes to protest the Taliban's ban on female access to higher education. Let's go straight to Bare Afghanpur. He's Afghan. In fact, we will go to the Afghan journalist in just a while. We have a report right now filed by my colleague Samiksha.
From United Nations to the US to even India, the regressive diktat that has been passed by the Taliban on women has drawn massive criticism from across the globe. Now, in the latest diktat that has been passed by the Taliban states that women will also no longer be allowed to work at non-governmental organizations. This, of course, comes days after another such diktat was passed by the Taliban, which said that women will no longer be allowed to pursue higher education in Afghanistan. Women across Afghanistan have taken to the streets, raising slogans against a Taliban ban on their...
All right, let's go straight to Brinda Adige, activist joining us on the phone line. A very, very good evening to you. This is visuals that we are seeing right now where male students are also coming out and they can be seen walking out from their classes to protest Taliban's ban on female access to higher education. Where do you think things are headed right now as we speak in Afghanistan?
One doesn't really know where all of these is headed, especially with all of the Taliban and their gun-wielding men walking around. But it is such a courageous move that men in Afghanistan are coming out protesting against Taliban's regressive diktat. Men saying that there are women required as doctors, as professors, as teachers, and Taliban making these kind of diktats against women and using so much of force on the protesters just goes to show that they are absolute brutes, gun-wielding brutes, and no country must support them. The countries that are tacitly supporting Afghanistan must be feeling terribly ashamed, hopefully, because it just shows that they are not ashamed at all. But I hope their citizens will pull them up. But Taliban is somebody who must be condemned by the entire world.
Right, and this is also being seen as a U-turn, Brinda Adige. When they came to power, when they came back to power, they said that things will be different this time, that women will have access to education, that they will not be the same like they were earlier. But why do you think that of all the promises the Taliban had made, now they are doing a big U-turn and they do not want the women in the country to prosper?
Taliban never came to power. They snatched the power at gunpoint. That said, they made all of these promises because their people did not know what else to do. They did not know what else to say. And they thought that probably Taliban might be a good turn for them. But Taliban never really wanted its people to be free. Taliban never wanted its women to be free. They don't want their people to think. They don't want their people to express their opinions and views. They are all just on a trip to enslave people, and they are using religion and guns. And that is so sad, because for the Taliban, religion and guns has to be said in the same breath. And that is what the promise is all about. And people in Afghanistan are realizing that this promise that the Taliban supposedly made was an absolute lie. And this is what they are experiencing. Their mothers, their sisters, their daughters, their cousins, nieces are all under the terrible brutality of Taliban. So they want to stand up. I do hope the world will stand with the people who are standing up against the brutality of Taliban.
All right. Thank you, Binda Adige, for joining us on Republic TV. She's an activist and she's speaking about what's happening right now. Taliban has banned women from NGOs as well. This is a new development which came in today, viewers. And like we are telling you, Taliban had banned women from universities in Afghanistan, and there's international condemnation and despair among the young people in this country. In fact, we also have fresh visuals coming today of male students themselves, male students standing up for the women and protesting against this brutal move by the Taliban. Well, let's move ahead to the other story we're tracking on Republic TV right now. And this is also an international story which is grabbing the headlines as well. We are getting to know, in fact, let's first go ahead to the other story we're tracking from India, then we'll go to what's happening in China. Now, today on the birth anniversary of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, a nation is remembering and is paying homage to one of its tallest leaders. In fact, after that, Vadra Congress at this moment is at it again. Now, a Congress leader, Gaurav Pandhi, in a tweet has launched an attack on Atal Vajpayee, calling him a British informer, and he goes on to make outrageous allegations against the former Prime Minister. There has been massive anger over Congress leader's tweet. The BJP has reacted to the controversy, first broke in on Republic. And this is the big story we're tracking from India itself, where the Congress leader has insulted the ex-Prime Minister Vajpayee on his birth anniversary, and he's gone ahead and very categorically called him a British informer. Many reactions coming in. Let's play them out.
Today, when the entire country, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is commemorating, honouring and celebrating the legacy of one of India's greatest sons, Bharat Ratna Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, for the contributions he made on the economic front, on the infrastructure front, on Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and education, social welfare, and most importantly, in making India a strong nuclear power, and for his contribution and leadership during the Kargil war. At that point of time, on his birth anniversary, the Congress party, once again through Rahul Gandhi's closest aide, Mr. Gaurav Pandhi, has launched a completely unfounded, baseless and a defamatory attack on Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on the day we are celebrating his legacy. This is not a sayog, this is a prayog, because the first family of the Congress has always insulted the icons of Bharatiyata, be it Savarkarji when he contributed to the freedom struggle, or be it Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee who contributed to contemporary modern India. This has become a plan and a strategy of the first family that any person who is a leader outside the family must be abused and insulted. Even Narasimha Rao ji was not spared, and his body was not allowed to come into 24 Akbar Road. The Congress party even insulted Sardar Patel and Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and today yet another icon of India, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee of the contemporary times, has been insulted. On the one hand, Nehru ji praised Atal Bihari Vajpayee on record. Dr. Manmohan Singh praised Atal Bihari Vajpayee on record.
Congressmen are poor at history. They don't know the exact history. Vajpayee ji himself has stated on record, and it was carried in Hindu newspaper, and he said on record that he never gave any witness against anyone during Quit India movement. A statement was recorded in Urdu, and he was made to sign as a young boy. He never knew Urdu as a language. So that is all. But they try to misinterpret history. They try to use history for their perspective. ये मोहब्बत का बाजार लगाने चले हैं. झूठों के सरदार, झूठों की पार्टी मोहब्बत का बाजार लगा रही है. And one side, the leader said that they will go to Atal Bihari Vajpayee Samadhi. Another side, they are trying to insult him by misquoting him. This categorically states that what sort of DNA Congress has, and they are not prepared to improve on their DNA. Whether it was Prime Minister Modi, whom they call by different various names, and whether it's Smriti Irani, or now Atal Bihari Vajpayee, one of the tallest leader India had. A man who had public life probably 3 times more than the public life of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and has public life without any question mark. Even Nehruji used to regard him. Even his father Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, all leaders used to regard him as the tallest leader. And in Bharat Ratan, he's trying to accuse him of falsehood. I'm hopeful some good sense will prevail upon them, and then they will take back their statement.
So also this insult spree which has been continuing by the Congress, and it's just not today, it's since the leadership, it's since the past years, and first is by the Prime Minister, where we saw comments like neech and everything was given not just by the Congress leader but also by the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. And now we have this Congress spokesperson, Gaurav, who's come out in the open blaming Atal Bihari Vajpayee for something going into the past, and now the Congress top leadership are mum on the same issue. What does this say, this hypocritic nature?
No, this is clear that this has the blessing of Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra. They all have blessing on Gaurav Pandey. Otherwise, how can a leader issue a statement and then would not withdraw back even in spite of being in the media? It means what he was saying yesterday, what was being message was being conveyed, that he'll go to Atalji's Samadhi or मैं प्यार की दुकान चलाना चाहता हूँ. That's all hypocrisy. Otherwise, a person who is going to pay his regard to Atalji and then his party will do some act like this categorically states that हाथी के दांत दिखाने के कुछ और हैं, खाने के कुछ और हैं.
देखिए, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी एक साहित्यकार थे, एक कवि थे, एक पत्रकार हैं, देश के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री रहे, भारत रत्न, एक अच्छे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर रहे, पर उससे भी ज़्यादा अच्छा है कि वो सबसे अच्छे इंसान थे. और वाजपेयी जी ने जिस तरह से देश को जोड़ा, और आप देखते हैं कि उन्होंने प्रधानमंत्री रहते हुए भी जिस तरह से परमाणु विस्फोट कर देश का मान बढ़ाया था, सड़कों का अगर कोई देन है सबसे बड़ी बात, नेशनल हाईवेज़ वगैरह, वो वाजपेयी जी की हैं. और वाजपेयी जी वो शख्सियत हैं जो दलगत राजनीति से ऊपर हैं. तो इसलिए दलगत राजनीति से ऊपर उठकर लोग उनको समर्थन अपना देते हैं और हर पार्टी के नेता उनको
आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा सर कि हर एक पार्टी के लोग उनका सम्मान करते हैं. आज राहुल गांधी जी भी उनकी समाधि में गए, तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि उनकी इज्जत क्या है. लेकिन सर ऐसे कुछ नेता है कांग्रेस के जो अभी भी उन पे मतलब चीनाकशी कर रहे हैं, जो कुछ बोल रहे हैं कि वो आरएसएस से मतलब इन्वॉल्व थे, उन्होंने नैली मासिकर में इन्वॉल्व थे, बाबरी मस्जिद में मतलब उनका योगदान था. तो इन मामले में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
मैं समझता हूँ जो लोग भी उनकी आलोचना करते हैं वो वाजपेयी जी को जानते नहीं हैं. जी, वाजपेयी जी जैसा महान पुरुष कभी कभी पैदा होता है.
भारत रत्न युग पुरुष श्रद्धेय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी अजातशत्रु के तौर पर भारत की राजनीति में स्थापित हुए. जितनी भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी हैं, सभी पार्टियों में उनके चाहने वाले थे, और उन्होंने भारतीय राजनीति को एक नई दिशा दी, जिसके लिए पूरा देश आज उनका ऋणी है.
आपने कहा कि हर एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के लोग उनको चाहते थे, लेकिन आज हमने देखा कि एक कांग्रेस के नेता ने उन पे मतलब टिप्पणी की है, बोले कि वो आरएसएस से इन्वॉल्व थे, उनका कोई योगदान नहीं था, उन्होंने मतलब डांडी मार्च में आरएसएस से इन्वॉल्व थे, उन्होंने मतलब आज़ादी में उनका योगदान नहीं था. तो इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, देश में जिस तरीके से हर पार्टी में उनके चाहने वाले थे, तो कहीं ना कहीं मूर्खों की भी कमी नहीं है. उसके ऊपर टिप्पणी करना, अपने शब्दों को जाया करना है. आरएसएस का एक अपना इतिहास रहा है. इस देश के गर्व और गौरव की जितनी भी वस्तुएं हैं, उनके लिए आरएसएस ने सदैव काम किया है. और पूरा देश आज 800 साल की गुलामी के बाद, चाहे मुग़ल रहे हों, अंग्रेज रहे हों, और अंग्रेज़ों के बाद उन दोनों के वर्ण संकर कांग्रेसियों के बाद आज इस देश के गर्व और गौरव की जितनी भी वस्तुएं हैं, जिसका एक थॉट आरएसएस और आरएस समर्थित लोगों के पास था, आज उस दिशा के ऊपर देश चल रहा है और देश विश्वगुरु बनने की ओर अग्रसर हो रहा है।
तो मेरा आखिरी सवाल आपसे ये है सर, वो लोग जो आरएसएस की आलोचना करते हैं और आरएसएस के बदले वाजपेयी जी पे आलोचना करते हैं, उसमें आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, जब हाथी चलता है तो पीछे कुत्ते भौंकते हैं, उनकी परवाह नहीं करनी चाहिए। हालांकि ये भद्दी टिप्पणी है, लेकिन यही वास्तविक टिप्पणी उस पर लागू होती है।
Viewers, time for top updates and a fresh development in the Tunisha suicide case. Statements of 14 people have been recorded by police in a Tunisha suicide case. This includes friends and co-workers and family of Tunisha and Shizan. A High Court in Maharashtra has sent TV actor Shizan Khan to a 4-day police custody till December 28th in connection with the Tunisha Sharma death case. Speaking to reporters, accused Shizan Khan's advocate has called the allegations against Shizan of instigating Tunisha Sharma for the suicide false.
जो कुछ भी हुआ है, पुलिस अपना काम कर रही है, हम अपना काम कर रहे हैं, कोर्ट अपना काम करेगा, ठीक है? नीचे अपना काम करेंगे।
लेकिन मीडिया को अंदर जाने से रोका जा रहा है।
वो अपना कोर्ट का काम है, उसके लिए हम कुछ नहीं करते। कोर्ट में बुनियाद है, वो एकदम सस्पिशियस ग्राउंड पे है, इसलिए अपना कोर्ट को काम करने दीजिए, आप लोग अपना काम।
अच्छा, कोई कोर्ट का आदेश है क्या कि मीडिया को रोकना है बाहर?
नहीं होगा तब तक
Actor Tunisha Sharma's relative Pawan Sharma has now informed that the last rites of the actor will be performed on December 27th in Mira Road area. Actor Tunisha has in fact allegedly died by suicide on the sets of a serial she was working on in Vasai, Palghar on Saturday. And yet another face-off that broke out between the BJP and the Congress. The BJP lambasted Congress moments after Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's aide and All India Congress Committee coordinator Gaurav Pandey insulted former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his birth anniversary and claimed that he worked as a British informer. The BJP has now demanded apology from Congress for insulting Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Notably, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's aide Gaurav Pandey has insulted the former Prime Minister on his birth anniversary and claimed that he worked as a British informer. As India marks 98th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, UP CM Yogi Adityanath has inaugurated the dynamic facade lighting in the Lok Bhavan in Lucknow. Local of Dharchula they have gone ahead and condemned the attack on Indian workers. The locals spoke about how the attack on Indian workers has become an everyday thing in the area by Nepalese.
नेपाल के द्वारा 11वीं बार पथराव किया गया और वाहनों की तोड़फोड़ी और हमारे वर्करों पे पत्थरबाजी करी गई थी। नेपाल सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहती हूँ कि जो असामाजिक तत्व जो नेपाल से भारत पे पथराव कर रही है तो उनके लिए कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए और तुरंत कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए, कठोर से कठोर कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए।
There's getting some big breaking coming in right now. Embassy of US in Pakistan has issued a security advisory to their staff to completely avoid going to Islamabad in the Marriott Hotel as unknown individuals are possibly plotting to attack Americans there. Meanwhile, British High Commission has also issued a similar advisory, viewers. So we're getting this breaking news where the Embassy of the US in Pakistan has issued a security advisory to their staff to completely, I repeat, to completely avoid going to Islamabad Marriott Hotel as unknown individuals are possibly plotting to attack Americans there. And the British High Commission has also gone ahead and issued a similar advisory as well, viewers. So the US has issued the advisory for its citizens in Pakistan, telling them to completely avoid the Islamabad Marriott Hotel. they're getting some intel that some people, some unknown individuals, are possibly plotting to attack the Americans in that hotel, viewers. So this is a big breaking we're getting for you right now, trying to get some more updates. But we can tell you is that the US is saying that there could be a possible terror attack plot against Americans in Islamabad. So this is the big news we're getting for you right now, viewers. And remember that a short while back in October itself, the US in its travel advisory had said that you should not travel to Pakistan due to terrorism and violence. So after that, we're getting one more update coming in. Let's go to Sanika, who's joining us on the phone line. Sanika, there seems to be an advisory which has been put out, and very clearly the US is saying that do not go to this particular hotel, the Islamabad Marriott Hotel. Tell us more.
Yes. So, Shivangi, this is a advisory that has been issued by the US Embassy and consulates in Pakistan, and I'm just going to read it for the benefit of our viewers. It says that the US government is aware of information that unknown individuals are possibly plotting to attack Americans at the Marriott Hotel in Islamabad sometime during the holidays. Effective immediately, the embassy in Islamabad is prohibiting all American staff from visiting Islamabad's Marriott Hotel. Furthermore, as Islamabad has been placed on red alert citing security concerns while banning all public gatherings, the embassy is urging all mission personnel to refrain from non-essential, unofficial travel in Islamabad throughout the holiday season. In fact, this is a very specific advisory that has been issued by the US Embassy in Pakistan. This comes a couple of days after there was an attack in Islamabad. And now the U.S. government has information that there could be a possible terror attack on Americans at a five-star hotel in Islamabad. They're warning their government officials, their citizens, to refrain from going to that five-star hotel to avoid unnecessary travel in Islamabad. A very clear embarrassment for Pakistan, and in fact a clear reminder of what our external affairs minister had said a couple of weeks back when he was in America, that the snakes in the backyard are probably coming to bite them. So it's a clear an embarrassment for Pakistan, a warning probably also to Pakistan to act on terror. But for now, we can tell our viewers that U.S. Embassy has issued an advisory for its citizens there in Pakistan, warning of a possible terror attack in a five-star hotel in Islamabad during the holiday season.
All right. Well, thank you, Sanika. I'm also being joined right now by our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, we are seeing there has been advisory which has been issued where clearly the U.S. government staff has been prohibited from visiting the Islamabad's Marriott Hotel due to a possible attack. Abhishek, what are the details that we know about this?
Well, Shivangi, so, it's as much an embarrassment for Pakistan as much for the United States. They have been, giving them support system for their F-16. They have been renewing their maintenance contracts. And recently we had the Americans talking nicely about Pakistan. And now they have a terror warning. So clearly, establishment does not know what the right hand is doing. And this advisory seems to be a clear intelligence input. Know something about the possibility of Marriott Hotel in Islamabad getting targeted.
All right. Abhishek, I'll just come back to you. I'm also being joined by Major Gaurav Arya on the phone line for us. Major Gaurav Arya, very, very clear advisory being given where they're saying very, very pointed things. Islamabad has been placed on red alert citing security reasons, while banning all public gatherings as well. And this is not coming as a surprise, Major Gaurav Arya. Pakistan continues to deflect the issue of terrorism again and again. But it's very clear, and even the US also has told its citizens that terror is something which is very, very concerning right now, giving a clear direction that avoid Islamabad's Marriott Hotel.
No, so today, American and British assets, if they're under threat at the Marriott or other places in Islamabad, they're raising a hue and cry. It is these very Americans who turned who turned their face away, who turned a blind eye which is why the Pakistanis got their atom bomb in the first place. You see, so America is playing a dual game here. I won't blame Pakistan so much as I would blame America and the West. They are the reason why Pakistan is what it is now. And as far as this entire security alert in Islamabad, especially with regard to the Marriott Hotel, is concerned, nobody was bothered when people were dying in Baluchistan. When the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan was attacking Pakistan Army, the levies, the Frontier Corps, all over their tribal areas, nobody was bothered. One person dies in Islamabad and everything goes on an overdrive. This is exactly typical Pakistani doublespeak, and the Pakistani elites not caring for anybody outside of Punjab or Islamabad. For them, the other are subhumans. The only human beings in Pakistan live in Punjab or in the Islamabad capital area. So this is what is happening. One person dies, and then there is this whole flurry of security inputs. Otherwise, till now, everything was okay. It is only day before yesterday when that suicide attack happened in Islamabad. Now everybody is suddenly woken up. This is what it is.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Major Gauravaria, for joining us here. Also, thank you so much, Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor, because this is a big story we're tracking right now, where the embassy of the US in Pakistan has issued a security advisory to the staff completely to avoid going to Islamabad's Marriott Hotel, as unknown individuals are possibly plotting to attack Americans there. So the embassy there acting fast. Meanwhile, British High Commission has also issued a similar advisory as well, viewers, for its citizens in Islamabad, viewers. And also they have been told, the American citizens have been told to exercise vigilance at events, places of worship, review their personal security plans, carry identification and follow requests from law enforcement, be aware of their surroundings and monitor local media for updates. So the US there going ahead issuing advisory for its citizens in Pakistan, viewers. And not only that, Islamabad has been placed on red alert, citing security concerns while banning all public gatherings. The embassy is urging all mission personnel to refrain from non-essential, unofficial travel in Islamabad throughout the holiday season. So this is the story we're tracking for you right now, where the US has issued advisory for its citizens in Pakistan. And not just that, a short while back in October itself, the US had told its citizens the US had told its citizens there to reconsider travel to Pakistan due to terrorism and violence as well, viewers. All right, let's go ahead and take a very short break. We continue to be live and breaking. Viewers, day after being seen walking in Bharat Joro, Kamal Haasan triggers language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Plus, Mathura Gandhi AA takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation pays homage. Stay tuned.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
Hey, boss.
Rahul? How come you're here?
Boss, Shahrukh ne bataya.
Wait up. Booking a car service.
Booking a service from here.
क्यों? तुझे शाहरुख ने नहीं बताया?
इसने पूछा ही नहीं. There's so much more जो शाहरुख ने नहीं बताया. It's all on the industry first My Hyundai app. Open a world of possibility with My Hyundai app. One app, many worlds.
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है. समझा देते हैं. प्यार से समझाएंगे. ये तो अपनी जुबान है.
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होनी चाहिए. विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharati Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
A very good evening, viewers. You're watching Republic TV this Sunday night. I am Shivangi Shukla. The death case of actor Tunisha Sharma has now taken a new turn after the arrest of her co-star, who is right now in police custody. Republic TV has also spoken to the relative of Tunisha Sharma. We'll get to all the details. We'll get to exactly what's happening in that case. But before that, the top headlines we're tracking at this moment. Even as COVID horror videos continues to emerge, China stops publishing daily COVID data. Days after being seen walking in Bharat Jodo, Kamal Haasan now triggers language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Vadra Gandhi takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation pays homage. Co-actor Shizan in 4-day police custody. Actor Tunisha Sharma's uncle alleges Tunisha was being harassed. Days after clashes in Tawang sector, China releases first official response, says ready to work with India. Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand. Rajnath says will solve the dispute together. Viewers, let's give the latest in the Tunisha Sharma case now. Republic has now spoken to Tunisha Sharma's uncle Pawan Sharma, who has leveled massive allegations that Tunisha was constantly harassed by Shizan. That's right, viewers. Remember that Shizan Khan is right now in police custody, and the probe is continuing at this point of time, where Shizan Khan at this moment in police custody. Republic Media has spoken to Tunisha's uncle Pawan Sharma, who revealed that she was being harassed continuously for the past 2 weeks, viewers, and as Shizan's mobile phone and laptop has been seized and sent for forensic examinations, it is coming to be known by us, as sources are telling us, that he is not cooperating with the police. On the other hand, the last rites of the late actor will be performed on December 27th. Right now, let's go ahead and play out that conversation that Republic has had with Tunisha's uncle.
क्या तुनिशा ने कभी बताया था कि उसके साथ कैसा व्यवहार हो रहा है, क्या चल रहा है उसकी ज़िंदगी में, क्यों परेशान है वो?
पहले उन दोनों का काफ़ी अच्छा था, चल रहा था जब से
टाइम से
पिछले 2-3 महीने से, जब से ये शो शुरू हुआ था। लेकिन अभी पिछले 15 दिन पहले, अभी 8-10 दिन पहले तुनिशा को एक एंजाइटी अटैक आया था। तो उसने बोला कि मेरे साथ चीटिंग हुई है, मेरे साथ गलत हुआ है और ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है वो, यही सब बात हुई। उसके बाद फिर अभी ये अचानक से फिर ये हो गया।
यानी कि उसने पहले बताया था आप लोगों को कि उसकी ज़िंदगी में क्या
उसने बताया था उसने।
क्या कभी ये भी कहा?
मम्मी से हर बात शेयर करती थी। उसने बताया था कि उनकी अच्छी दोस्ती है, तो हमें भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी कि ठीक है, एक साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है।
लेकिन इतना बड़ा स्टेप उठाना लगता है
आपको? पता था कि ऐसा हो जाएगा, पता नहीं क्या हुआ। वो जो पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी, जो उसमें आएगा, वो लोग।
तो शिजान के वकील कह रहे हैं कि भाई ठीक है, जो था वो था, लेकिन ब्रेकअप हो चुका था इस घटना के पहले, तो शिजान का कोई दोष नहीं बनता। आपको भी ऐसा लगता है क्या?
अब दोष नहीं बनता तो कोई इतना बड़ा अगर कदम उठा रहा है तो उसके साथ क्या हुआ होगा, कुछ तो हुआ होगा ना। अगर कोई इतना बड़ा कदम उठाता है अपनी जान देने का तो कुछ तो हुआ होगा ना। जो पुलिस, देखिए पुलिस क्या इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी, अभी हमें भी नहीं पता क्या हुआ सेट पे। हम लोग सीधा हॉस्पिटल गए तो वहाँ पे तुनिशा हमें मिली तो तब तक वो नहीं थी।
सेट पर जो लोग काम करते हैं उनका ये कहना था कि भाई तुनिशा बहुत सीरियस थी शिजान को लेकर के, उतनी सीरियस शिजान नहीं थे उनको लेकर के। क्या आप लोगों ने भी ये महसूस किया?
हाँ, मम्मी ने, तुनिशा की मम्मी ने उसको समझाया था कि बेटा अगर ब्रेकअप भी है, जो भी है, पहले तो आप इतना ज़्यादा क्लोज आए, अब अचानक से एकदम से दूर जा रहे हो तो फिर वो 20 साल की है सिर्फ, तो वो इतनी समझ नहीं है उसमें अभी। तो थोड़ा पहले आप घर बुलाते थे, आपकी मम्मी भी बुलाती, सब बुलाते थे, अब अचानक से क्या हो गया, तो वो इसी स्ट्रेस में थी पिछले 10-15 दिन
शिजान ने कारण क्या गिनवाया, क्यों ब्रेकअप कर रहे हैं?
पता नहीं, आई थिंक उसने बोला मेरी लाइफ में कोई और है पहले से या कुछ, या फिर तुनिशा को कुछ पता चला हो, जो भी, बस वो मुझे इंटरनल नहीं पता। पुलिस अभी उनके चैट्स चेक करेगी, फ़ोन्स चेक करेगी तो पता चलेगा। दोनों के फ़ोन पुलिस के पास ही हैं।
एंजाइटी का जो अटैक आया था, फिर कोई ट्रीटमेंट दिया था आप लोगों ने तुनिशा को इससे उबरने के लिए?
या वो लोग सेट वाले ही, शूटिंग वाले लोग हॉस्पिटल लेके गए थे, हम लोग वहाँ गए तो रात तक एडमिट किया था उसको, रात में हम लोग घर ले गए थे।
अभी इस मामले को आप लोग कहाँ तक लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि इसको लोग लव जिहाद मान रहे हैं कि शिजान ने जानबूझकर ऐसा किया एक मासूम लड़की के साथ?
वो मुझे नहीं पता, बट अगर कोई दोषी है तो उसको कानून के हिसाब से सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें पूरा भरोसा है अपने लॉ पे, सो वी विल फॉलो द लॉ।
तुनिशा शर्मा सुसाइड केस मामले को लेकर के तमाम जो सनसनीखेज चीज़ जो है वो सामने आ रही है। इसी बीच मेरे साथ शहजान के लॉयर जो हैं वो जुड़ चुके हैं, रुपेश जी जुड़ चुके हैं। रुपेश जी, बताइए कि किस प्रकार का आर्गुमेंट आज कोर्ट में हुआ, क्या कुछ दलीलें जो हैं वो दी गई थी?
उनको 7 डेज़ का रिमांड चाहिए था, हमारी तरफ से था कि रिमांड की इतना नेसेसरी नहीं है, जो भी डेटा है, डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, वो सारी चीज़ तो आयोग को प्रोवाइड की गई है। इसके लिए हम कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में और आगे भी करते रहेंगे।
पुलिस की तरफ से क्या कुछ बातें कही गई थी? आरोप लगाया जा रहा है 15 दिन पहले जो है ब्रेकअप हुआ था, जिसके बाद जो है ये कदम फांसी लगाने की जो कदम है वो उसने उठाया।
देखिए, ये सब केस है, उनका केस है, अब वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन करके उसका रिपोर्ट आएगा। हम हमारे तरफ से सारा चीज़ें बता रहे हैं, मेरिट्स आपके सामने, सबके सामने आएगा, जो सच है वो ऑटोमेटिकली आएगा, रिपोर्ट्स के दौरान आएगी। तो अभी मेरिट्स पे मुझे कहना सही नहीं है।
लेकिन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में क्या, कोर्ट में क्या कुछ बातें, आप लोगों ने क्या दलील रखी, उसके बारे में बताइए।
हमने फुल कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में, जो उनको इंक्वायरी चाहिए, जैसा मोबाइल चाहिए, जो डिटेल चाहिए, हमने सब दिया है। हमारी तरफ से कहीं भी हम कम नहीं पड़ रहे हैं।
जो आरोप लगाया गया है कि वो हरेस करता था, मारपीट करता था, वो सच है?
नहीं, ऐसा कोई
परिवार की तरफ से
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, बिल्कुल कोई ऐसा एलिगेशंस पे कोई भी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, ना कोई है, और ऐसा कुछ एलिगेशंस पे कोई सवाल भी नहीं हुआ है बेसिकली। बट ये चीज़ सब गलत है, जो भी हमने सब सारा सिचुएशंस कोर्ट के सामने भी रखा, पुलिस स्टेशन में भी रखा हुआ है, और हमारी तरफ से सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हम दे रहे हैं। बाकी रियल फैक्ट आपके सामने कुछ ही दिनों में आ जाएगा।
मेरे साथ इस वक्त नाला सोपारा के एसीपी माननीय चंद्रकांत जाधव जी हैं। तुनिशा शर्मा सुसाइड केस को लेकर के इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है। आज 4 दिनों की कस्टडी जो है वो दे दी गई है। एसीपी साहब, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे किस प्रकार से आप लोगों को इस बारे में जानकारी मिली, कैसे जो है पुलिस ने जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन?
हॉस्पिटल से इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला था तो वहाँ पे पुलिस पहुँच गई, बाद में पुलिस ने डेड बॉडी को इंक्वेस्ट पंचनामा करके हॉस्पिटल भिजवाया।
मौके वारदात पे आपने क्या क्या देखा, किस तरीके से उसके गले पर निशान था, क्या कुछ आया?
हाँ, गले पे तो निशान था, हैंगिंग की वजह से गले पे निशान था, और पोस्टमार्टम हुआ है उसका।
पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट में क्या कुछ चीज़ें जो है वो सामने आई? अगर आप
पोस्टमार्टम में उसका डेथ ड्यू टू हैंगिंग आया हुआ है।
प्रेगनेंसी की बात कही जा रही है, क्या प्रेगनेंसी को लेकर के ऐसे कुछ सबूत
नहीं? ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है।
अभी तक इस मामले में कितने लोगों से पूछताछ की गई है, क्या कुछ कर रही है?
पूछताछ जारी है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन पार्ट।
लैपटॉप और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एविडेंसेस जो है वो सीज किए हैं, क्या व्हाट्सएप चैट्स वगैरह भी एक्सट्रैक्ट करेंगे?
नहीं, 2 मोबाइल सीज किए हैं, उनको दोनों के ताबे में है, पुलिस तपास कर रही है।
व्हाट्सएप मैसेजेस आप लोग एग्जामिन कर रहे हैं?
वो सब करेंगे, जो पुलिस का पार्ट है, जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन का, वो पूरा करेगी।
प्राइमा फेसी आपको क्या लग रहा है?
वही तो, उसका ब्रेकअप होने के बाद उसने आत्महत्या कर दी है, ये अभी फिलहाल है।
There's a global surge in the coronavirus cases, and India is also witnessing a slight surge in the coronavirus cases. Right now, I am at one of the most busy areas in the national capital, which is the India Gate. Here you see it's a Sunday morning. People have gathered with family, friends and everybody else. There are small school children who have come here to take a sight of the India Gate. But remember, coronavirus scare, the alarm bells are still ringing in the national capital and in India. However, we see no social distancing norms here. We see no following of the coronavirus guidelines that have been issued. It is of national concern that India and the alarm bells of the COVID are still ringing. When we talk about the present cases, there are 227 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours. 198 recoveries have been recorded in past 24 hours, and the active caseload in India currently stands at 3,424.
Viewers, much more coming up on the other side. Even as COVID horror videos continues to emerge, China stops publishing daily COVID data. And days after being seen walking in Bharat Joro, Kamal Haasan triggers a language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Stay tuned.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
छक्का नहीं, टूटा। आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MY के लेटिक्री टाइल एडेसिव। फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा।
अब जियो मार्ट के ग्रैंड फिनाले सेल में मोबाइल्स और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पे मिलेगा अप टू 80% ऑफ। तो साल जैसा भी गया हो, एंडिंग तो जबरदस्त होगी।
Ladies and gentlemen, you expected the puzzle, but for a long person, this is not a game.
Explain it to us, detective.
Everyone is in danger.
All right, when's the murder mystery start?
Viewers, thank you for watching Republic this Sunday night. Republic exclusively speaks to the SDM of Dharchula, Divesh Shashani, after attacks on Indian workers working on the Kali River wall in Uttarakhand. Windscreens of 4 trucks was damaged here in Dharchula, a border town, and the drivers had to jump into the Kali River to save themselves as they were attacked with stones from Nepal. Well, this is what officials have said on Saturday. Here is exclusive conversation that my colleague Tunisha had with the SDM.
So I wanted to know the current situation that has happened at the Kali River, wherein a few Indian workers were attacked according to reports.
There was a few people from Nepal side pelted stones on Indian side on the machinery. कोई workers पे ऐसा कोई attack नहीं हुआ था. Machinery पे मतलब वहाँ पे हुआ था. No one was injured. इतना भी नहीं हुआ था कि किसी को कोई injury हुई है. And we contacted the Nepali authorities and administration, and after that the pelting had stopped. Next meeting is going to happen between India and Nepal. In that we will discuss how we will move forward with the river protection work we're doing right now, which has been undergoing for the past 1 year now.
Okay, and so when is this meeting slated for?
As soon as this CDO comes, actually Nepal, they have CDOs instead of DMs. So their CDO is not in Dharchula right now.
Right.
Their CDO is in Kathmandu. So as soon as their CDO comes, I'll meet the CDO then.
Right. So what could be the possible reasons for this stone pelting that had happened?
They have apprehensions with respect to our wall when we are moving forward to a critical section where their area is built up. So they have told us not to move forward in that direction till at least they take concrete steps to remove their silt up area. That's what we have to discuss. उनका टेंडर डल चुका था, उनका कॉन्ट्रैक्टर कितने दिनों में काम करेगा, and all those details the CDO will share with me when he comes there, Dharchula.
Right. So, sir, has our side stopped the construction of the wall till we get any?
No. Till now, that is one part. The wall is about 985 meters long. So construction is ongoing in different parts of the wall.
Right.
Currently, we are not stopping the construction because of that. We are just not moving in that particular area, but all the machines of the contractor are engaged and they're continuously working on construction of the wall.
Okay, and sir, how is the present situation there? Is everything normal or the tension is still there in the area?
No, everything is normal right now. As of today, there's been no incident. Since yesterday, there has been no incident. Yesterday also the construction has been ongoing.
Oh, thank you so much for talking to the public, sir. Thank you.
देखो, हमारी फ्रेंडली कंट्री ही नहीं बल्कि मैं कहूँगा कि सचमुच नेपाल मेरा भाई है। ये जस्ट लाइक ए ब्रदर, एक भाई की तरह हम नेपाल के साथ संबंध रखते हैं, उसे अपने परिवार के रूप में देखते हैं। अखिलेश जी, कोई समस्या होगी तो मिल बैठकर उस मामले को सुलझा लेंगे। अच्छे रिश्ते बनाकर चलने वाले लोग हैं।
उत्तराखंड का तो रोटी बेटी का रिश्ता है नेपाल के साथ, फिर भी सर इस तरह की घटना
उत्तराखंड पूरे भारत का है।
देखिए, वो कुछ स्थानीय स्तर पर छुटमुट घटनाएं हुई हैं, लेकिन दोनों देशों के स्तर पर कहीं पर भी ऐसी बात नहीं है। हमारा जो नेपाल के साथ इस सीमांत क्षेत्र में रहने वाले लोगों के साथ जो रोटी बेटी का संबंध है, जो हमारा एक सांस्कृतिक संबंध है, जो हमारा पूजा पद्धति का संबंध है, हमारा रहन सहन का जो संबंध है, वो संबंध बना रहेगा। हमारा भाईचारा है और वो बहुत पुराना भाईचारा है और आगे बना रहेगा। हम दोनों ही देश एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ेंगे।
And viewers, Indian security forces unearthed a hideout allegedly made by Pakistan in North Kashmir's Uri, where terrorists had dropped weapons, thereby using the tunnel to push the arms and ammunition on the Indian side of the border. And in a Republic exclusive, we are getting you the visuals of a hideout busted in Uri and a massive cache of arms and ammunition which has been recovered. Now, these are the visuals you can see of the massive recovery of the ammunitions. Zeerat also has filed this report for us on this huge cache of arms which has been recovered.
As we talk about the recent arms and ammunitions that have been recovered by the joint forces in Hatlanga sector of Uri, North Kashmir, we are saying this is the biggest cache of arms and ammunitions recovered, although the tunnel has been used to push the arms and ammunitions before they could do any such untoward incident. The recovery was done by the joint forces. Talking about the kind of arms and ammunitions and the weapons that have been put on display here by the Indian Army. But yes, I can take you to the board where the recoveries are clearly mentioned here as we talk about the AK-74 RIF. They are 8 in number. Similarly, the AK-74 magazines, 24 in number, Chinese pistols, then magazines and also AK-74 rounds, the pistols, the Chinese grenades, the Pakistan origin hand grenade, the balloons are there, the markings and the synthetic guni bags that carry the wheat and other things have been recovered by the Indian Army. Also, the Indian Army here is displaying the pictures of the weapons that have been recovered by the joint forces. The recovery shows the hand grenades that is of the Pak origin, and similarly the Chinese made grenades that have been recovered in this very tunnel. So this is one of the important cache of arms and ammunition and one of the biggest recoveries of the 2022 from the North Kashmir. This tells you that apart from the infiltrators, though we have seen the number of operations at the line of control, if we talk about the figures of 2022, 172 terrorists neutralized at line of control as well as the hinterland by the joint forces, although the majority of the int has come from the Jammu and Kashmir police. police as far as the operations, the anti-terror operations are concerned. But despite the ceasefire agreement intact, we are seeing that now not the violations are taking place, but yes, the infiltration is there. At the same time, we are seeing.
So it's getting some big breaking coming in at this point of time. What we're learning so far, that multiple blasts, I repeat, multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan have killed 5 people. According to reports, viewers, multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan have killed 5 people. 5 people have been killed. 10 others have been injured in multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan province. This is what we're learning so far. Viewers, where we are seeing multiple blasts in Baluchistan in Pakistan. Now, these are visuals also coming in of that incident, which is coming in only on Republic right now, viewers. Remember that this is coming in just after the US had also given an advisory to its American in Islamabad to not enter a hotel called Islamabad Marriott Hotel. After that advisory had come in from the embassy in the US of America, we are getting to know that one more incident is coming in from Baluchistan, where there has been multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan. Now, what we know is that 5 people have lost their lives in this attack, while 10 others have been injured in multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan province. Let's go ahead to Gursimran. Gursimran is joining us on the phone line. Gursimran, what do we know about this incident coming in right now? The police there are saying that 2 hand grenades were thrown on the road, and one of that hand grenade has exploded while the other one was diffused. Gursimran.
See, multiple incidents of these kinds have taken place in the Baluchistan and the Quetta. Press release, a statement that has been issued by the ISPR reads that an ID exploded in the area that is in the Baluchistan Khanan area, in which the Captain Fahad, along with the 4 others, Jawans of the Pakistani army, they have been killed in this ID attack, and the area has now been cordoned off by the security forces. This area has been very active when it comes to the cadres and the fighters of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. However, TTP is yet to claim the responsibility. But one thing that is very sure, that the Pakistan is facing a tough time from the TTP rebels soon after the ceasefire agreement has ended, and another blast has taken place in the Quetta, in which 8 including 3 policemen, they are said to be injured and they are being treated. So the intensified operations that are being carried out by the cadres of the TTP have landed the Pakistani administration as well as the government and the army into the trouble, as multiple attacks are taking place with each passing day.
Right. So Gursimran is getting us those top details right now, and we're learning that this had happened in Quetta Sabzal Road. This is the area where it has happened as well, Gursimran. Now, terrorist attacks, bomb blasts, they're not very, they're not rare at all in Pakistan. In fact, blasts keep happening, multiple blasts keep happening in various places. Tell us a little bit more about this particular incident coming in, because a short while back, the US had warned its citizens and also the citizens, personnel of the in Islamabad, not to enter a hotel called Marriott Hotel. They said there could be something which might happen, some kind of a terrorist activity might happen there. So is there any kind of connection between what the US told its citizens in Islamabad and what happened right now, which are multiple blasts in Baluchistan?
See, the incident that has been reported in Quetta is in the Sabzal Road, and this pertains to the grenade blast that has taken place. This is of the grenade blast that has happened at around 5 in the evening, and in which 8 people, including the 3 policemen, they are said to be injured in the Quetta. And we are getting to know that the senior officials of the police, they are also on the spot. But the way these kind of acts are intensifying in the Pakistan, especially in the areas where there is a visible activity of the TTP rebels, that is something really very worrisome for the Pakistani administration, because they had tried everything possible, be it looping in of the Taliban, Afghanistan,
right,
or getting into the off-record talks with the TTP, but all have landed, all have fallen flat, and the TTP is up in arm against the Pakistan.
All right, thank you, Gursim, for getting us all the details. So, multiple blasts in Pakistan's Baluchistan. Viewers, getting those details. We know that 5 people have been killed and 10 people have been injured. Now, the nature of this blast is multiple blasts. There were multiple blasts as well, viewers, and we're getting more details on this. Let's go ahead to Babar Yousafzai, ex-PTI spokesperson, for joining us on the phone line. Thank you so much for joining us. आपका पहला रिएक्शन अभी क्या है जो मल्टीपल ब्लास्ट हुए हैं पाकिस्तान के बलूचिस्तान में? 5 लोग, 5 people have lost their lives at this point of time, and right now the US ने बोला है, the US has told that you should avoid Marriott Hotel in Islamabad because something might happen there which might harm Americans who might enter that hotel. अभी क्या हो रहा है पाकिस्तान में?
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, आपने मुझे इतने सेंसिटिव इशू पर लाइन पर लिया। मैं थोड़ा आपको करेक्शन कर दूं। आई एम अ कोऑर्डिनेटर चीफ मिनिस्टर बलूचिस्तान। मैं इस टाइम सीएम का कोऑर्डिनेटर हूं, सीएम बलूचिस्तान का कोऑर्डिनेटर बलूचिस्तान चैप्टर पर। और आज जो ये वाकयात हैं हम इसकी शदीद मजम्मत करते हैं। बहुत बड़ा लॉस हुआ है। हमारे 5 जवान, हमारा एक फुल अफसर, 4 जवान पाकिस्तान में एक ब्लास्ट में, आईडी ब्लास्ट में शहीद हुए हैं। इसके अलावा बलूचिस्तान के शहरों में इस टाइम कोई छोटे मोटे हैंड ग्रेनेड ब्लास्ट 5 से 6 ब्लास्ट हैं और इसमें काफी लोग इंजर्ड हुए। मैं खुद भी इंजर्ड मिलकर आया हूँ। तो ये देखें, एक दहशतगर्दी की लहर है। पाकिस्तान ऑलरेडी 70,000 लाइफ जो है 70,000 इसमें लॉस कर चुका है। 73,000 जान।
All right, thank you, Babar Yousafzai. He's an ex-PTI spokesperson. Also, he was at the civil hospital after the bomb blast took place today in Quetta Sabizal Road. On that note, viewers, we'll continue tracking that story, but much more coming up on the other side. A day after seen walking in Bharat Joro Yatra, Kamal Haasan triggers language debate and says imposing Hindi is ignorant.
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है। समझा देते हैं, प्यार से समझाएंगे। ये तो अपनी जुबान है।
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होने चाहिए। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
क्या हुआ रोहन, क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया, पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो, एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए।
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी जरूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? रिया, अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है, जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
.2% across India, 35% across English markets, 46% across super prime time, 43% across urban India. Channels that spend crores lose to content. Content wins, landing loses. Republic the All India #1.
Burning question.
Even as the COVID horror videos continue to emerge, China now stops publishing their daily COVID data. Day after he's seen walking in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, Kamal Haasan now triggers a language debate. He says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Vadra Gandhi takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation is paying homage. Co-actor Shizan is in a 4-day police custody. Actor Tunisha Sharma's uncle alleges she was being harassed. Days after clashes in the Tawang sector, China now releases their very first official response. They say we are ready to work with India. Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand. Rajnath Singh says we'll solve the dispute together. A very good evening. The show's called The Burning Question and I'm Deepti Sachdeva. Do remember, viewers, for the last many days you have seen this happening here on Republic, that multiple videos have come out of China detailing what's really going on. You know, the numbers have kept on increasing. There are reports, there are internal reports that are being leaked. In spite of that, what's happened today is that China all of a sudden has stopped releasing daily COVID data. What really does that mean? Is China right now hiding the numbers? The horror is out for everyone to see. Let's quickly put out the story and then we debate.
Funeral homes are running out of space. Dead bodies are being kept in parking lot. Bodies are piling up and containers are being used to transport them. The horror unravels in major cities of China. With no space to keep the dead bodies, and amid the controversy, it seems China is pushing for further secrecy. As per Chinese mouthpiece Global Times, China's National Health Commission, which used to issue the country's COVID-19 case figures on a daily basis, has now stopped publishing COVID data.
Numbers according to leaked documents and estimates of China are staggering. According to leaked documents, it is known that around 248 million people were infected with COVID-19 from December 1st to 28th, or 17.65% of the population. And not just that, 37 million people were infected on one single day, December 28th, which is very different from what the government officials of China officially say.
China is already under scrutiny for stopping mass testing, changing methods of calculating cases and deaths. And despite the situation spiraling out of control, China maintains the situation is manageable.
目前疫苗接种率不断提高，救治能力不断增强，医疗物资产能不断扩大，总体供应充足。中国疫情防控形势总体是可预判、可控的。 相信中国人民团结应对，很快将迎来经济社会平稳有序发展的新阶段。中方始终本着负责任的态度，同世卫组织和国际社会分享有关信息，愿继续同国际社会团结合作，更好地应对疫情挑战。
Can China be trusted when it comes to COVID? What is China trying to hide by suppressing data? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
So what really is China hiding from the world, and why is China doing that? Let's quickly say good evening to our panel of guests that's joining us. Tohin Sinha is spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Isaac Bagoch is infectious disease specialist from the Toronto General Hospital. He's also on the broadcast live with us, along with Dr. Ravi Godse, the president of the Pennsylvania Medical Consultation, on the broadcast. And I do see Victor Gao, strategic affairs and geopolitical expert, on the broadcast from New York. So let's begin with Victor. Victor, will you tell us the real numbers? What are the real numbers that China is reporting on COVID, and why is it suddenly that China has stopped releasing the data since this Friday?
Thank you very much for having me. China right now is in a very difficult transition period from the original zero COVID paradigm practiced for 3 years to a new paradigm. And in this process, there are huge numbers of infections and an increasing number of deaths. The national government has not published the national numbers. However, if you look at the provincial numbers and the municipal government numbers, they are very accurate. For example, in one city, they say their daily infection rates are reached a very high level with more than 500,000 infected cases daily. In another province, for example, the numbers are more than 1 million per day. So you need to really add all these numbers up to have the national number for China as a whole. I think the national authorities are very busy getting all the number, adding all the numbers, because we are dealing with a new paradigm.
Victor, they're busy, so they can't release the numbers? Victor, but the very fact... Victor, listen to me, please. The moment you start hiding numbers, you know, the moment you start hiding numbers, concerns are raised. And, you know, no one trusts China anymore, Victor. No one trusts China anymore. Look at what the reports say. Possibly 248 million infections just between the 1st of December to the 20th. There are estimates saying about 20% of your population infected in just the last 20 days. So why to hide these numbers? Come out with these numbers. The world needs to be forewarned.
Why should anyone hide numbers? I'm telling you, you need to get numbers on the provincial and city level and add them up. I think the numbers are changing on a minute-by-minute basis. It's very clear there are a huge number of infections, large number of deaths, and this is the difficulty that China needs to deal with as we speak, and the world need to be sympathetic with the situation happening in China. What's happening in China is exactly as what happened in India a few years ago.
You just said sympathetic. Before I get in, Dr. Ravi Godse, I want to get in Dr. Isaac. Dr. Isaac, the world needs to be sympathetic is what Victor says, unless and until, you know, we have the real numbers out, because then you have these videos that we are playing out on our screens. The funeral homes are overwhelmed. There is no place in the hospitals. People are gasping for breath on the roads. And you have Victor today saying, we need to be sympathetic. China has stopped releasing the data. How serious is this situation, Dr. Isaac?
Well, you know, for starters, I'll let the other experts on the panel opine on the capability and the logistics behind China releasing their numbers and being transparent with their numbers and the politics behind that. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that front. However, we do know it is extremely important for countries to be as transparent as possible with the number of cases they have, their hospital capacity, and especially variants of concern that are emerging, because this is data that's extraordinarily helpful to the rest of the world. Every country has done their best, or almost every country has done their best, to share data in a timely manner with the rest of the world. We saw, for example, India do that with Delta variant. We saw South Africa do that with the Omicron variant. We saw the UK do that with the Alpha variant, et cetera, et cetera. So it's extremely important to have that transparency because it really helps the rest of the world. Why and how China can do this and with the issues behind what's happening now, again, I'll leave it to the other experts on the panel who are far better equipped to deal with that question than myself.
Okay, but there has to be some bit of accountability, Dr. Ravi Godse, because we do not even know what variant this is. You know, unless the real data is reported, the data is shared with other countries, with the WHO, China cannot be hiding numbers and the data, Dr. Ravi Godse, like this. I mean, what really are we looking at?
Okay, you know, I start all my shows by saying one thing, which is relevant to India.
There is not going to be a third wave in India because of this variant. I stake my reputation on it. I guarantee it. There's not going to be a third wave in India. India has nothing to worry about. We have enough protection. Going to China regarding the numbers, there was a book, very famous, called Yes Minister by BBC. And a civil servant is upset because one city is not sending the blue forms because their numbers are incomplete. The minister says our numbers are nonsense. The civil servant says, yeah, but we want it to be a complete nonsense. So we want all cities to report. China's numbers were always nonsense right from the beginning. But unfortunately, we are going by social media, which is more of a nonsense than China. Remember that Pfizer CEO being arrested secretly, floods in Wuhan. Social media is nonsense too. One thing I agree with China. Cases don't make waves. Hospitalizations do. So reporting cases that there were so many cases, what difference does it make if the patients are not ending up in the hospitals? So just report the hospitalization. And anyway, you're not going to. In fact, I would say it very bluntly and very hardly. China has reported 7 deaths. Just imagine that they are lying by not lying, they are miscalculating by a factor of 1,000. And suppose 7,000 people have died in China. Very bluntly, I would say that it's a very comforting number in terms of what I was expecting. Because unfortunately, CoronaVac, the China's vaccine, the main vaccine against serious disease is only 60% in the biggest study done in 1.25 million people. Covishield and Covaxin are spectacular against serious disease. India also has a lot of natural infection. So India is protected. I don't know what are we expecting from China in terms of number. These numbers are meaningless. If the city's infectivity rate is like 60%, why are we even? And one more thing, I support China. China is only recording deaths that are due to COVID pneumonia. So Dipti, unfortunately, last January, had you sprained your ankle and had you gone to a hospital in Mumbai, they would have, against your will, put a thing in your nose and taken an Omicron sample, and you would be positive because the entire India was coughing. And the news would be the famous news anchor Dipti is in the hospital because of Omicron. You are not in the hospital. You are there for an X-ray, and you are not because of Omicron. So only deaths because of Omicron pneumonia. When the infectivity is 60%, any people you test is going to be positive. You have to see how many people are dying. Unfortunately, in China, and nothing is going to happen in India. What you need to do is you need to focus on high-risk people who have a risk of going to the hospital. So mass testing, I would say it bluntly and rudely. Mass testing is, sorry.
Dr. Godse, I don't think even that is happening in China. And before I get into Tuhin, it's not just India that is worried, it's the world that is worried. Because, you do not know if there are mutations happening, Dr. Ravi. The very fact that China has had a zero COVID policy, now they've, taken back their policy. So they have failed policies. Their vaccine is a dud. I mean, apologies for using that word, but there is absolutely no data to actually tell us that their vaccines are effective. And no one trusts this data that is even coming out of China. And now the very fact that you say the social media perhaps is not to be believed all the time, but then this is all that you have Chinese citizens speaking up. A lot of them have been booked. We've seen them. We've seen journalists being booked. Why? Because they were willing to speak out and put out this data, put out these images, Dr. Ravi. So why trust China?
Nobody is trusting China, but what I'm saying is we can say things like Chinese vaccines are a dud. A lot of people in Indonesia, a lot of Indian brothers in UAE, a lot of Chinese people have taken this vaccine. They are not a complete dud. They prevent you 60% against serious disease, which is good. In a last study in Chile, they prevented hospitalizations by about 84%. So that is all good. What I'm saying is we are saying test the numbers and print. I'll say it bluntly. Mass testing is idiotic. Testing, tracing, isolation is beyond idiotic. It's certifiably lunatic. And I'll tell you why. If 1 crore people are coughing and you test everybody, you will run out of reagents in one day. Less is more. Only test those people who are at risk of going into the hospital. Do not test anybody else. And I had I don't know whether we have time. I have a question that I've been keeping asking India's task force in terms of this. I just tweeted it at Dr. Godse everyone. Suppose there's a 70-year-old male who's on dialysis, who has cancer, who's diabetic, and he's overweight. He's coughing, and he tests himself, and he's positive. Indian task force or any task force in the world, tell me the names of medication you are going to use to keep this patient from going to the hospital. Once you do that, stop these people from going to the hospital. Building hospitals and building oxygen capacities is not good. Work on not sending those people to the hospital. You're on Titanic. You see an iceberg and you're preparing what to do after you hit the iceberg. I have a simple idea. Don't hit the iceberg. Go by the side. We are doing it for 3 years. So nobody's trusting China for this idiotic.
But we don't even know where is this Chinese ship right now. You know, we don't even know where this Chinese ship is. You know, is it sinking? It's floating? No idea. But that's a debate for another day. I want to take one quick question with Victor because we've limited time with him. Victor, the point is that the world today is very, very concerned. Absolute horror is what is written over these images that we have seen, you know, whether it's your hospitals, your funeral homes, your streets, with the kind of, Twitter information that's coming out. There is information that many top bureaucrats, officials in the Communist Party itself have been infected. There are reports of death that China is not talking about. Why?
Thank you again for your question. I think there is increasing number of deaths in many cities in China as well as in the countryside. And the deaths are more focused among elderly people and people with underlying diseases. In this sense, it is very similar to what had happened in the United States and in India, for example. And China need to deal with this as quickly, as urgently as possibly we can. And in this regard, I do hope China will get
India
all
was never hiding its data. You know, Victor, I disagree there. I don't think India has ever been hiding the data. That is the problem. You know, you've been a part of that propaganda. You can do it. But, you know, not that we care about it, Tuhin. I also now see Andrew who's joining us. And Andrew, good evening to you. I'll just come to you in a moment. But I want Tuhin to respond to what we've just heard from Victor. Victor, he's comparing what's happening in China right now, Tuhin, to what happened in India. But the point is that no country has been hiding data like China. It has completely stopped publishing data. It stopped mass testing. It's no longer reporting asymptomatic cases. In fact, it keeps changing the way it's even reporting cases or reporting deaths now, Tuhin. So what could be the ramifications?
Good evening, DP. First of all, I feel sorry for what's happening in China because 3 years down the line, I think with a little more transparency and with a slightly more cooperative attitude towards other countries, they could have done better. When you compare the Chinese numbers with Indian numbers on a week when China has reported 3.7 million cases, India's official count per day on a daily basis has been roughly in the range of 150. Obviously, there could be more cases, but since they are absolutely harmless, there is no cause of worry. Now, there is a concern over here that the deaths which are being caused in China right now may not necessarily be because of the B7 variant, because that has been prevalent in the world for a long time now, for at least a year. In India, the first such case was reported in July. So either it is the complete failure of the vaccination program, which again we don't know because of limited information, which limited authentic information which comes out of there, or it's possibly a new variant. But having said all that, India is on, India is keeping things on the radar. India is alert, and I don't see any situation similar to China getting played out over here simply because, our democracy is a great. I think, the transparency and the democracy with which we carry out even the smallest of medical exercises, be it the vaccination program or, all such policies to combat the disease, I think that's exemplary and the world should replicate it. The simple data at the end of the day is India has reported the lowest death per million in the last 3 years. India has reported the lowest cases per million, and India's vaccination program has been absolutely exemplary, which has been emulated even by many other countries. So I don't think there is any cause for worry over here.
Sorry, may I respond?
But the worry is different, Tuhin, that how can we allow China, Andrew, I know you want to come in here, so why don't you take that question? How can we allow China to have a rerun of what happened in 2019, a complete cover-up? a complete cover-up. That's again what China is attempting to do now.
Well, can I may I be given the opportunity to say something? All right.
Onto it right now.
Sorry, the gentleman from Mumbai. Could you please
let Andrew respond to that? Yeah.
Well, now, first of all, in 2019, when the virus first hit China, nobody had a good idea what the virus was all about. And then, of course, in the system in China, a lot of low-lying kind of officials were afraid because they were not sure what the virus was. But very quickly, that was late 2019. In the beginning of 2020, in January, the 3rd of January, China completely transparent and shared the findings, the DNA, with a world-renowned international science journal. It was all over the place, the DNA. Now, as far as the recent decision not to publish data just announced by Beijing, is because the pandemic has completely changed into a different phase. So China's in a transition from a pandemic to an endemic. And also, people are self-testing, and some of the self-testing are not reported. So there is no point in the Beijing central government to release some of the data. But nevertheless, the responsibility for reporting on new cases has now been transferred to the Pandemic kind of Prevention Bureau. So it's a functionary bureau rather than the central government. So doesn't mean that Beijing is hiding the data, because there's nothing to hide, and people can see it. You can see it on the television. And then of course, why is this situation?
But how bad is it? Andrew, let me take one more question with you before I go to Dr. Isaac. Tell me how bad is the situation, and why then do we have China again and again saying everything is in control? When you've given up now, you're saying, hey, listen, we are not even recording data, we are not putting out data, the situation is not in your control. Why is China telling the world again and again that we are in control?
Well, I don't think that China is refusing to share data with the WHO. I mean, as I explained, the data are there, but then they are not being released no longer being released by the central government. They're going to be publicized by the Pandemic Prevention Bureau. I mean, I just look at the news, and that was announced on the Beijing news that the responsibility for reporting the daily cases will be transferred to a lower level functionary department. So there is nothing to hide. Because
Andrew, can you tell us?
China, in fact,
Andrew, can you tell us how many cases is China reporting daily now? Can you tell us that? Can you give us a number?
The Elderman Trust Barometer in January this year, 2022. Elderman Trust Barometer surveyed around the world to see what people thought.
Andrew, what is the situation today?
Management of the pandemic. China came on top of everybody because of the ability to keep the death rate extremely
Andrew, why don't
low.
you take my question? I'm asking you how bad is the situation today? What are the numbers? What are the numbers that you're reporting? What are the numbers that you're reporting today?
Well, I did not follow the news just now, but then it was reported, for example, in Guangdong province, in some other province, something new cases. It was announced by the responsible provincial governments, and that daily cases number something like, 300,000 to 500,000. But compared with a population of 14 million, for example, in Guangdong, I mean, it's only a relatively small percentage. It's just like what's happening around the rest of the world. Because the pandemic has changed into an endemic, it's just like a very severe case of flu.
Andrew, these images, these numbers are not being reported from anywhere in the world right now. The point is the world is being honest. But also the fact, I don't think we have Dr. Isaac with us anymore, but then I'll get in Dr. Ravi as we'll stay with these images also just for a moment. Dr. Ravi, let's juxtapose the kind of comments that have come in from both Victor and Andrew with these images. You know, I don't know why you say that it's not possible to believe these images, because it's only these images that are coming out of Beijing, something that tells you what is happening, how bad the situation is, and the absolute horror that's unfolding there. Dr. Ravi? Okay, I think we just lost that phone line, but for a moment, let's go back to Andrew and then I'll get into Heen. Andrew, you know, you've seen what happened in 2019 when the first case was reported in China. It was 2019, December, just exactly this time. It's only in Feb that you have the WHO calling that a pandemic, because the WHO said that China did not share the data on time, exactly what possibly we could be looking at right now. Do we know whether it's the same, virus? Do we know there are mutations? There is zero immunity. There is no herd immunity in your population. Your vaccines haven't worked very well is what, all data really points out to. It's been opaque. You haven't shared data. And again, you're doing the same thing, Andrew.
Well, I mean,
but the point is the world today is wanting to fix your accountability.
The pandemic, as I said, had changed. First of all, China did not share the data. It was a failure on their part in the beginning of the virus because no one had a good idea what the virus was all about.
You admit that was a failure.
And very quickly, as I pointed out, China just
Andrew, you admit that 2019, what China did was a failure.
But now,
you're admitting that here.
Coming back to now, the pandemic is now changed into an sort of an endemic. And then instead of compulsory testing, which is quite firm data.
But then why do you have so many people dying? Andrew,
people are self-testing.
You're saying it's turning endemic, people are getting herd immunity, but tell me something, your funeral homes are overwhelmed.
You see,
why are people gasping for breath on the streets?
Right? And I don't think China has
why is all that
refused to share data with the WHO. Sorry, do you hear me?
Can you tell me something? Why do we have your funeral homes, Andrew, overwhelmed right now? Your crematoriums are full.
Well, I mean,
people have no place in hospitals. You're running out of essential drugs.
With a very low
is that an endemic situation?
And of course, there is, as I said, there is a degree of panic amongst the population because they were not used to this sudden relaxation of the restrictions. Now, of course, there is also difficulty in supplying some of the ordinary medicine because, again, the Chinese government may not have been fully prepared for this sudden relaxation. So there's a great deal of demand for ordinary medicine. But I think that this situation is going to be improved very, 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 very quickly. Considering China's ability to mass mobilize.
So Andrew somewhere has conceded. Andrew somewhere has conceded, Dr. Ravi, how bad the situation is. And before I, take it to Tuhin for his last comments to you, what should the world be doing right now? Because clearly you don't have data that you can study. You do not have research that China is willing to share with the world. What should the world be doing? We can't have a repeat of what happened in 2019 for sure.
Of course, China's zero COVID policy was a nonsense. It was a complete nonsense. I wish they had tried zero COVID policy in 2019 before the virus escaped China and created havoc in the world. But I'll say one thing for the world. Everybody has a fear in their mind that if we don't know what is the data coming out of China, could there be a mutation emerging that we don't know about? Could it be dangerous like Delta, which suddenly hit us in India with the second wave? And the answer to that is no. I can confidently tell you it is no. Even only a replicating virus can mutate. Suppose these millions of cases in China, the virus mutates into something deadly like Delta. It cannot spread into the world because most of the world has now Omicron. So anything that emerges out of China will not also have to fight us, but it will also have to fight Omicron. It will have to outfight Omicron, and it cannot do that. So whatever is going on in China is not going to spread to the world. We are going to be okay. There's just one thing the world can do, and I can, we can do this on a positive note. Means we of course are very worried about our Chinese brothers and sisters. I give Chinese government one idea that can save million lives. I guarantee it. There's a brand new medication came out of Japan called ensotrelvir. Japanese government has approved it on November 22nd. Hardly any side effects. Looks like it's brilliant. It will keep you from going to the hospital. Chinese government should approve it today. That's my suggestion to my Chinese brothers. But of course, the world has nothing to worry about.
Dr. Ravi, I'm just coming in here because as you said, it's important that people do not panic. We are in a good situation is what you say. But then obviously, Tuhin, the images that are coming out of China, the very fact that you have all the data going behind a veil tells you something possibly could be going wrong. But like I said, WHO is the only authority to tell you what medicines you need to take, what is the line of treatment. Republic not vouching for anything else, Tuhin. But I want to know from you, what is your word that's going out today vis-a-vis China, Tuhin?
Well, first of all, we have to take
apart from representing the BJP, you would be aware I've also authored a book, which is probably the first co-authored a book, which is probably the first pandemic thriller. So I know for a fact that China has been economical with the truth. So when the gentleman from Hong Kong says that China shared details about the status of the pandemic on 3rd January 2019, we know for a fact that the cases had been prevalent for at least 3 months before that, which is October 2019. He says that the cases were shared with the world on January 2000. So the cases had been prevalent for at least 3 months before that. Even now, we know for a fact that for the last 4 or 5 months, the situation in China has been precarious, which is very strange that after 3 years of the pandemic, something seems to be amiss. We don't know what exactly that is, whether that is a new variant, whether that is the collapse of the vaccine or the failure of the vaccination system. But India has been extremely alert to the crisis. India's vaccination program has been exemplary. So all I can tell you from the point of view of Indian government is that there is absolutely nothing to worry. And as my friend from Pittsburgh tells you, further corroborates it medically, that he doesn't see the possibility of what's happening in China replicating itself in India. So I don't think we have anything to worry, except that we need to be alert for something which is unprecedented.
Yes, that is true. But then the very fact that you have seen this happening in 2019, no one wants a rerun of that episode again. China has to be accountable to him. Dr. Ravi and Andrew, for the moment, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom as we'll track that story. And yes, let's not forget those images out of China are horrific. They are horrific to say the least. Let's see what the WHO says and does now, and we'll track that story as we quickly move on now to our next burning question on this edition of the news that is essentially focused on the big language war in the country. Actor Kamal Haasan, who was just about seen yesterday, he was walking in the Bharat Jodo Yatra with Rahul Gandhi. He was on the dais and he spoke a lot. He spoke a lot of platitudes. He's triggered this fresh language debate, and in a tweet, in fact, he says that imposing Hindi on others is ignorant. He's, remember, not the only one who's spoken against Hindi. In fact, he just seems to be following Rahul Gandhi's footsteps. If you recall, Rahul Gandhi, again on his Bharat Jodo Yatra, had made anti-Hindi remarks just a few days back. So is Hindi being imposed, or here is this comment by Kamal Haasan politically motivated? Let's bring up the entire story and then we debate.
A day after he walked along Rahul Gandhi in the national capital, actor-turned-politician Kamal Haasan has triggered the language debate. He tweeted in Tamil that translates to, "Mother tongue is our birthright. Learning and using other languages is done by personal choice. This has been the right of South India for 75 years. Northeast will reflect the same. To develop Hindi and impose it on others is ignorant. What is imposed will be opposed." This comes 6 days after Rahul Gandhi had attacked Hindi.
ये नहीं चाहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान का गरीब, किसान का बेटा, मजदूर का बेटा अंग्रेजी सीखे। इसका कारण है क्योंकि वो चाहते हैं कि आप बड़े सपने ना देखो, मगर अगर आप बाकी दुनिया से बात करना चाहते हो, चाहे वो अमेरिका के लोग हों, जापान के लोग हों, इंग्लैंड के लोग हों, तो वहां हिंदी काम नहीं आएगी, वहां अंग्रेजी ही काम आएगी।
But here's a fact check. There has been no imposition of Hindi by centre. In fact, the government has been promoting regional languages. On Saturday, Finance Minister had made a pitch for MBBS course in Tamil. So is there an attempt to create a divide in India on linguistic basis? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
So why today do we have this comment that's coming from Kamal Haasan? Is this politically motivated? And who's imposing Hindi? We are asking those questions and much more. Tuhin Sinha continues to stay with us. He's a BJP spokesperson. Desh Ratan Nigam is an advocate of the Supreme Court. George Kurian is a political strategist. Good evening to all of you. And my first question is to Mr. Lion Sridhar, who's a state secretary of the legal wing of the Makkal Nidhi Mayam. Mr. Sridhar, tell me something, sir. Who's imposing Hindi? And why does the actor turned politician make this comment?
The imposition of Hindi, first of all, let us make me clear on the statement of our leader, what he has said. He has always said that we are not against any linguistic language, but we are against when it has been pushed on us. So that is the stance of our party. See, when Hindi is being pushed from the central government, whenever the central government comes with a policy, for example, that IIT exams can be made in Hindi, the opportunity for Tamil people and other linguistic people is being denied. That's the most important thing which we always, in the South, we are very protective on our language and our culture. When you try to put a barricade saying that Hindi is superior, if you learn Hindi, you can work, you get a better opportunity. You're creating in the minds of the students and the future, saying that Hindi has got an upper hand than the linguistic language from the other regional area. And people are getting carried away saying that if I learn Hindi, I have a better opportunity in the government job. The government job is the issue. If you take any central government job or any kind of opportunity, the Hindi is the main criteria which they say, you don't know Hindi, you cannot survive in other part of India. That is how the Tamil people and others, Dravidian
Who's saying all this? South, Mr. Sridhar, the last that I checked, sir, I do not know of anyone who's imposing Hindi. The Prime Minister, if you recall, has said, let's give equal importance to regional languages. No. Mr. Sridhar, sir. Mr. Sridhar, I want to understand from you, who's imposing Hindi on you? Who's told you that, Hindi is going to be the only language that's going to be written, spoken and discussed in the country?
The present BJP government is imposing Hindi in every font of the central government machinery. If you take railways or any kind of thing, you are running a train in India, but all the person who are working in the train in Tamil Nadu, they speak only Hindi. They don't understand what is the local language. We want people the opportunity to work in our
Tuhin, why are you doing this? Why are you imposing Hindi?
Those people see
Mr. Kamal Haasan and the likes of him do not like the language. They're not comfortable in Hindi. So why are you imposing this language? Tuhin, come in.
Both Rahul Gandhi and Kamal Haasan, unfortunately, are extremely ignorant people, and to hide their ignorance, as a policy, they spread falsehood. We have not imposed Hindi. We have used the term Swabhasha. What does Swabhasha mean? Swabhasha means your mother tongue. So for a Tamil, the mother tongue is Tamil. For somebody in Karnataka, it is Kannadiga. We have emphasized on regional and local languages vis-a-vis a foreign language, which we consider English to be. So naturally, it's the local language which gains primacy. Now, because 42 to 44% of our population, Hindi is the primary language. Obviously, Hindi gains more weightage. So, but there is absolutely no imposition whatsoever. And by virtue of Hindi being the primary language of 42% people, we have appealed for it to be the connecting language as against English. Is there a problem with that? If today a minister from Northeast,
if you want to,
Mr. Sridhar has a problem already. Mr. Sridhar has a problem already with it. Mr. Sridhar, so you're changing the goalpost now.
No,
you're changing the goalpost. You know, your neta says to develop Hindi and impose it on others is ignorant. He says, what is imposed will be opposed. So can you put out one report, one statement that says Hindi is going to be imposed on the country, or Hindi is that, you know, blanket language that has been instructed for all conversation, for all work-related purposes? Can you put out one report?
Now, BJP has clearly now stated 42% of the Hindi-speaking people want their language to be a connecting language. Now, that is the problem. You are now making connectivity.
So that is not imposition, no sir. This is the problem. This is the problem. So where is the imposition here?
Now imposition is the next step. That is what we are giving a call.
You're speaking in English right now, sir. You're speaking in English. You're speaking in English right now. When you come to the Hindi belt, a lot of people might not be comfortable in English. So you'll speak in Hindi. Hindi is a language that is largely understood and spoken by most of the population. That's the point, Mr. Sridhar.
The issue is you are trying to push and promote Hindi as a connecting language. You are trying to again say one nation, one language, which is opposed by all the South Indian.
If you don't accept it, you don't accept it. It's a well-meaning advice.
42% of this country is Hindi, and you have to learn Hindi. It is a compulsion only.
We have so many ministers right now from the Northeast, and you will be surprised.
Mr. Sridhar is so worked up. Mr. Sridhar Tuhir is so worked up right now by your comment. But I want to understand, why is George today quiet? Before I take it to Mr. Nigam, why is George Kurian so silent? Because there is a pattern. Rahul Gandhi speaks, you know, against Hindi. Kamal Haasan today has put out this entire tweet. He's waded into this controversy. So, George, are we going to be looking at the DMK plus the Congress plus the Makkal Nidhi Mayam in 2024? Is that the alliance building up? And is this being done only and only for that motivation?
Well, Dipti, it is too early to comment on the 2024 alliance between Kamal Haasan and the Congress party in Tamil Nadu. Having said that, I strongly believe that Rahul Gandhi believes that, you know, English is a universal language, and for someone from the poor background, the poor farmers and laborers, it is of paramount importance to have the knowledge of English, because that is how you will be internationally, you can keep yourself at par. And as we all know that India is a federal structure where federal structures were introduced by the Government of India Act 1919, which separates powers between the center and the state, and the center has more powers. It has powers to override certain state legislatures' laws and also make laws with regards to the state list. I strongly believe that this attempt is to just bring in the controversy and push a fear in the minds of the students, you know, just inculcate the kind of psychological pressure which will mount them towards, that is the whole idea, I believe, from the central government. And I don't see any other reason why.
George, I need to just understand this again. Are you saying the actor turned neta, Kamal Haasan, right now is fear-mongering? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know in what context the Kamal Haasan has made this statement. But it is important to note that the central government
it was citing a left member of parliament's comment. If you go to his Twitter handle, he goes on to say, George, he goes on to say mother tongue is a birthright. Learning and using other languages is done by personal choice. He then says this has been the right of South India for 75 years. Northeast will reflect the same. To develop Hindi and impose it on others is ignorant. What is imposed will be opposed. So almost similar lines you've heard from the DMK. Similar lines from the Congress party, and now Makkal Nidhi Mayam and the actor turned neta Kamal Haasan. So is there a pattern now? That's what I'm asking.
It is important to understand that, you know,
who's imposing Hindi
around India have a 15% quota where students from the North India go to South India and study there. So it will become difficult for somebody to adapt to a language of a regional language. So that is what it is. So all we are saying is that we will oppose the implementation and imposition of Hindi at a national level as such.
But who's
strongly
imposing
believe
Hindi,
that
George?
Hindi
Even
and
you
English
haven't
should be
answered that
at par.
question. Mr. Sridhar could not. Before I go back to Mr. Sridhar, Deshratan Nigam, has anyone told us that, Hindi is going to be the only language spoken, written, discussed in the country? When did that happen? Because I have no idea about that. We are sitting on an English channel. We are speaking in English.
Deepthi, in fact, none of you panelists, in fact, the two of them, gentlemen, did not reply as to who is saying that Hindi should be imposed. The answer will never come from them. The fact that the timing of this statement after Kamal Haasan meeting Rahul Gandhi, and on one hand, Rahul Gandhi says English should be brought in, and on the other hand, mother tongue should be promoted by Kamal Haasan. Please see the kind of strategy they have. Germany, Japan, South Korea, China, they all, developed not on English, but on their own language. And therefore, to say that English is absolutely necessary for development of a nation, then I don't agree with it. Secondly, we have a choice. Most of the states are following 3 languages formula, where English, Hindi, and the local language is being taught. And Tamil Nadu is one of the topmost states where the highest enrollment for Hindi is taking place in Tamil Nadu voluntarily by students, because it increases their employability. And this is a voluntary thing, not somebody imposed on them. Now, secondly, if you look at the new education policy of 2020, which clearly says that mother tongue instruction of medium of instruction has to be mother tongue minimum till 8th standard. And then JEE and NEET exam are taking place in 13 Indian languages. In fact, AICT has given guidelines permitting technical engineering education institutions to offer their courses in local languages. And in fact, you just said MBBS courses to be in Tamil. The finance minister also said there is a portal which is known as Swayam MOOCs or Diksha portal, which provides, online translation of the technical courses and class 1 to 12 textbooks in local languages. This is what NDA government has done. The Bharati Bhashas are being promoted. English is also there. Nobody is preventing English not to be learned, but Indian languages have to be promoted. And because it opens a huge opportunity to a large number of population to have access to education, technical education, MBBS. That was not being available because it was being taught in English. So the local languages are being promoted all over India, and this is the endeavor of this government. But I don't know why this imposition, why this ignorance.
So I want to understand. Okay. No, is this ignorance, or this is a part of a pattern, Mr. Sridhar? Because, I'm putting out the statement that the Prime Minister made not very long ago, and you must please respond to facts. The Prime Minister said in the past few days, we've seen that attempts are being made to spark controversies on the basis of language. He said the BJP sees a reflection of Indian culture in every regional language, considers them worth worshipping. Then he said we've given importance to every regional language in the NEP. So tell me something today. Why should a Kamal Haasan be fear-mongering? And then, are you then joining the cause with Rahul Gandhi? Will you align with him for 2024? Is that the larger plan? So that's the political motivation behind this comment.
Our party as well as our leaders made it very clear. The joining of Rahul Gandhi in the Yatra was just as an Indian to revamp the lost glory of this country. This was the reason he has joined it. The question of today's debate, which we discuss upon the language which has been pushed on the South Indian language. If you take, for example, in Bengaluru, none of the people speak Kannada. They all connecting language has totally become Hindi now. Now in Tamil Nadu, it is not so. Because we preserve our own culture, we have our own style of lifestyle. Now everything you want to make it a single party system.
So no one, Mr. Sridhar, has a problem with that. The Prime Minister is saying exactly this. You're ducking my question, sir. I just want to know, is this just a coincidence that Rahul Gandhi wades into the language debate, then you have Kamal Haasan getting into the same debate, and he's stoking a larger debate of the South India versus the rest of the country. So the point is, the country is integrated today, Mr. Sridhar.
We have a system of unity in diversity. Now, how do you develop the unity in diversity? You have to respect all the language. It's equal in status. Every language is equal in status, in culture.
So who is
everything.
not
We respect all
respecting
the
languages? That's my moot question.
Anybody in Tamil Nadu.
Kamal Haasan says Hindi is being imposed. I just want to know, how is Hindi being imposed? Who's imposing Hindi, sir?
For example, I had a word with my people in here in Tamil Nadu. If for example, if you want to join the army, they say you should know Hindi. You should know. Without Hindi, you cannot be in the Indian army. Now, this is the problem. You are now saying that the national integrity, the nationalism, and the patriotism is connected with Hindi. Hindi is not the only language of India. It is Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Marathi, Urdu.
He's going on another tangent.
Equally
Tuhin wants to counter you. I'll let Tuhin counter you. Tuhin.
You can see all the GOs. It has not been even in Tamil Nadu.
Tuhin, through the back door, you're pushing the Hindi language. That is the allegation, Tuhin.
In the last 17 minutes of your show, I don't think any evidence whatsoever has emerged of Hindi being pushed. So I think one should not react to rhetoric. And, please understand where these people are coming from. They're extremely parochial people. Rahul Gandhi's biggest challenge right now is to retain his Lok Sabha seat in Kerala. So obviously he would make some statements to appease, appease his constituency, people in his constituency at the expense of people in North India. But as such, there is no evidence whatsoever of Hindi imposition. And Kamal Haasan, like Rahul Gandhi, has been spreading falsehood for a long time. So I think, let's set this record straight. There is no official document.
If the Prime Minister of India is ready to come and he has got the guts to come and stand. I know he has got all the guts to stand in Kerala. Whether our Prime Minister got a seat in Tamil Nadu, can he win?
MFM was just mentioning that in Bangalore,
Mr. Sridhar, India is not just Tamil Nadu, sir. Mr. Sridhar, India is not just Tamil Nadu. And interestingly on the debate today, George is unusually quiet. There are, you can't miss the pattern here, Mr. Nigam. That you have Rahul Gandhi, then you have Kamal Haasan. They are both seen on the dais, and on the next day you have Kamal Haasan, he's quoting a tweet of a CPIM MP, and he's putting out this entire thing about Hindi being imposed. But like Tuhin said, in the last 17 to 18 minutes, not one proof, not one statement that's come out to tell us that Hindi as a language is being imposed. So is this only, setting the ground straight for the 2024 elections? And is Kamal Haasan only then wanting to join cause with Rahul Gandhi? Mr. Sridhar, it's been a pleasure, sir, speaking to you. We should have you more often on the debates. I thank all of you, gentlemen, Tuhin, Deshratan Nigam Saab, George Kurian, and Mr. Sridhar for speaking to us. We quickly are heading into a break now.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking, and proactive professionals.
Cashless hospitalization is easy. Get details on our network hospitals at www.starhealth.in. Always at your doorstep.
एक दिन मैं सोते सोते गिर गया और मुझे कुछ नहीं हुआ। पता है किसने किया? घोस्ट ने। मेरा दोस्त है। वो हर बार मुझे बचा लेता है। घोस्ट को कैसे पता मैं अंधेरे से डरता हूँ? घोस्ट मेरा दोस्त है। मिलोगे?
अरे कोई घोस्ट नहीं, रोनी के पापा ही हैं जो उसे सेफ रखते हैं। जैसे हैवेल्स लाइफ शील्ड वायर्स जो दिखते नहीं पर घर को सेफ रखते हैं। ना आग पकड़े, ना जहरीली गैस छोड़े। वायर्स दैट डोंट कैच फायर।
आइए नए उत्तर प्रदेश की क्षमता और असीमित अवसरों से सफलता की नई कहानी लिखें। यूपी ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स समिट 10 से 12 फरवरी 2023। नए भारत के ग्रोथ इंजन उत्तर प्रदेश में निवेश करें।
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है।
समझा देते हैं।
प्यार से समझाएंगे, धीरे धीरे से।
वो भी अपनी जुबान में।
ये तो अपनी जुबान है।
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होने चाहिए। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
सामने फ्यूल पंप है, वहां से ले लें।
जी सर। फ्यूल तो पिछले पंप में भी मिल जाता, इंडियन ऑयल में ऐसा क्या है?
कुछ है स्पेशल, खुद ही देख लेना।
स्पेशल?
अरे इंडियन ऑयल की तो बात ही कुछ और है।
जरा देखिए, फ्यूल तो बराबर डाल रहे हैं ना।
अरे यहाँ कंप्लीट ऑटोमेशन है, मतलब प्योर और पूरा दोनों ही। इन सेंट्रली मॉनिटर्ड मशीन्स की एक एक रीडिंग का हिसाब है यहाँ पर। क्या हुआ?
सर बिल।
हाँ बिल हो गया।
वाह सर।
याद है ना, इंडियन ऑयल की बात ही कुछ और है। इंडियन ऑयल, पहले इंडियन फिर ऑयल।
Even as the COVID horror videos continue to emerge, China now stops publishing the daily COVID data. It's a day after seen walking with Rahul Gandhi in the Bharat Jodo Yatra that the actor turned Neta Kamal Haasan now triggers a big language debate. He says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Vadra Gandhi takes to Twitter insulting Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation pays homage.
Tonight, a murder will be committed. If anyone can name the killer, that person wins our game.
This is truly delightful.
Holy
There has been a murder. For one person, this is not a game. The killer wouldn't hesitate to kill again.
You must be really great at clues.
I'm very bad at dumb things.
Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
अब जियो मार्ट के ग्रैंड फिनाले सेल में होम एंड किचन एसेंशियल्स पर मिलेगा अप टू 80% ऑफ। तो साल जैसा भी गया हो, एंडिंग तो जबरदस्त होगी।
Different ages, different stages. Get best protection with Star Women Care Insurance Policy. Always at your doorstep.
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief.
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
क्या हुआ रोहन, क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया, पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो। एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए?
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी जरूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? रिया, अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है, जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
Even as COVID horror videos continue to emerge, China stops publishing daily COVID data. Day after seen walking in Bharat Jodo Yatra, Kamal Haasan triggers language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Mathura Gandhi aide takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation prays its homage. Co-actor Shizan in 4-day police custody. Actor Tunisha Sharma's uncle alleges Tunisha was being harassed. Days after clashes in Tawang sector, China releases first official response, says they're ready to work with India. Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand. Rajnath says will solve the dispute together. On the birth anniversary of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as the nation remembers and pays homage to one of its tallest leaders, here is Vadra Congress at it again. Now, a Congress leader, Gaurav Pandhi, in a tweet has launched an attack on Atal Bihari Vajpayee, calling him a British informer. He goes on to make outrageous allegations against the former Prime Minister. There has been massive anger over Congress leader's tweet. BJP has reacted to the controversy first broke in Republic. Here is a full story.
It's a day marked as Good Governance Day as the nation pays tribute to former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his birth anniversary. But Vadra Congress has undermined the legacy of Vajpayee and insulted the statesman. Rahul Gandhi's aide, who is in the inner circle of Congress President Kharge, Gaurav Pandhi, has called Vajpayee a British informer and a person who incited mob. The comment has triggered a huge backlash from the BJP.
Congress party once again through Rahul Gandhi's closest aide, Mr. Gaurav Pandhi, has launched a completely unfounded, baseless and a defamatory attack on Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on the day we are celebrating his legacy. This is not a sayog, this is a prayog, because the first family of the Congress has always insulted the icons of Bharatiyata. This has become a plan and a strategy of the first family that any person who is a leader outside the family must be abused and insulted.
This is clear that this is the blessing of Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra. They all have blessing on Gaurav Pandhi. Otherwise, how can a leader issue a statement and then would not withdraw back even despite being in the media? This categorically states that hathi ke daant dikhane ke kuch aur hai, khane ke kuch aur hai.
A day ahead of Rahul Gandhi's tribute at Atal Samadhi, this insult from a Congress exposes Vadra Congress's hypocrisy. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And Kamal Haasan, who was seen walking in Bharat Jodo Yatra with Rahul Gandhi on Saturday, triggered a fresh language debate. In a tweet, Haasan said that imposing Hindi on others is ignorant. He is not only one speaking against Hindi. In fact, he just is seen to be following Rahul Gandhi's footsteps, who has made anti-Hindi remarks just a few days back. Here is the full story.
A day after he walked along Rahul Gandhi in the national capital, actor turned politician Kamal Haasan has triggered the language debate. He tweeted in Tamil that translates to, "Mother tongue is our birthright. Learning and using other languages is done by personal choice. This has been the right of South India for 75 years. Northeast will reflect the same. To develop Hindi and impose it on others is ignorant. What is imposed will be opposed." This comes 6 days after Rahul Gandhi had attacked Hindi.
ये नहीं चाहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान का गरीब, किसान का बेटा, मजदूर का बेटा अंग्रेजी सीखे। इसका कारण है क्योंकि वो चाहते हैं कि आप बड़े सपने ना देखो, मगर अगर आप बाकी दुनिया से बात करना चाहते हो, चाहे वो अमेरिका के लोग हों, जापान के लोग हों, इंग्लैंड के लोग हों, तो वहां हिंदी काम नहीं आएगी, वहां अंग्रेजी ही काम आएगी.
But here's a fact check. There has been no imposition of Hindi by centre. In fact, the government has been promoting regional languages. On Saturday, Finance Minister had made a pitch for MBBS course in Tamil. So is there an attempt to create a divide in India on linguistic basis? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
His co-star and accused Shizan has been sent to 4-day custody in connection with TV actor Tunisha Sharma's case. Tunisha's family, on the other hand, has accused Shizan of harassing Tunisha. Here are all the developments throughout the day.
A day after 21-year-old actor Tunisha Sharma allegedly committed suicide on the sets of a TV series, her co-star Shizan Khan has been arrested and sent to 4-day police custody on charges of abetment of suicide.
हमें हॉस्पिटल से इंफॉर्मेशन मिला था तो वहाँ पे पुलिस पहुँच गई। बाद में पुलिस ने डेड बॉडी को इंक्वेस्ट पंचनामा करके हॉस्पिटल भिजवाया।
मौके वारदात पे आपने क्या-क्या देखा, किस तरीके से उसके गले पर निशान था, क्या कुछ आया?
हाँ, गले पे तो निशान था, हैंगिंग की वजह से गले पे निशान था और पोस्टमार्टम हुआ है उसका। जो पुलिस का पार्ट है जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन का वो पूरा करेगी।
प्राइमा फेसी आपको क्या लग रहा है?
वही तो उसका ब्रेकअप होने के बाद उसने आत्महत्या कर दी है।
The arrest was based on Tanisha's mother's complaint. The actor's family has accused Shizan of harassment.
तनीषा की मम्मी ने उसको समझाया था कि बेटा अगर ब्रेकअप भी है जो भी है, पहले तो आप इतना ज़्यादा क्लोज आए, अब अचानक से एकदम से दूर जा रहे हो तो फिर वो 20 साल की है सिर्फ, तो वो इतनी समझ नहीं है उसमें अभी। तो थोड़ा पहले आप घर बुलाते थे, आपकी मम्मी भी बुलाती थी, सब बुलाते थे, अब अचानक से क्या हो गया, तो वो इसी स्ट्रेस में थी पिछले 10-15 दिन।
अभी इस मामले को आप लोग कहाँ तक लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि इसको लोग लव जिहाद मान रहे हैं कि शिजान ने जानबूझकर ऐसा किया एक मासूम लड़की के साथ?
वो मुझे नहीं पता, बट अगर कोई दोषी है तो उसको कानून के हिसाब से सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए।
But there are many questions surrounding the death of the young actor. With no suicide note found, the investigation against Shizan is based on family's allegations.
हमने फुल कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में, जो उनको इंक्वायरी चाहिए, जैसा मोबाइल चाहिए, जो डिटेल चाहिए हमने सब दिया है। हमारी तरफ से कहीं भी हम कम नहीं पड़ रहे हैं।
जो आरोप लगाया गया है कि वो हरेस करता था, मारपीट करता था, वो सच है?
नहीं नहीं, ऐसा कोई
परिवार की तरफ से
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, बिल्कुल कोई ऐसा एलिगेशंस पे कोई भी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, ना कोई है, और ऐसा कुछ एलिगेशंस पे कोई सवाल भी नहीं हुआ है बेसिकली। बट ये चीज़ सब गलत है, जो भी हमने सब सारा सिचुएशंस कोर्ट के सामने भी रखा, पुलिस स्टेशन में भी रखा हुआ है, और हमारी तरफ से सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हम दे रहे हैं।
Was Tanisha harassed and driven to death? What is Shizan's role in her death? Was it a suicide or is there something more than what meets the eye? Investigation is focused on answering these questions. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Viewers, amid global COVID upsurge, China stops publishing daily COVID cases amid fresh surge. China's National Health Commission, which used to show the country's COVID-19 case figures on a daily basis starting Sunday, stopped publishing the update, according to the Global Times. The move comes in the backdrop of a Radio Free Asia report that nearly 250 million people in China may have been infected by COVID-19 in just 20 days after the zero COVID policy was diluted in the first week of the month. Here's more.
Funeral homes are running out of space. Dead bodies are being kept in parking lot. Bodies are piling up and containers are being used to transport them. The horror unravels in major cities of China. With no space to keep the dead bodies, and amid the controversy, it seems China is pushing for further secrecy. As per Chinese mouthpiece Global Times, China's National Health Commission, which used to issue the country's COVID-19 case figures on a daily basis, has now stopped publishing COVID data.
Numbers according to leaked documents and estimates of China are staggering. According to leaked documents, it is known that around 248 million people were infected with COVID-19 from December 1st to 28th, or 17.65% of the population. And not just that, 37 million people were infected on one single day, December 28th, which is very different from what the government officials of China officially say.
China is already under scrutiny for stopping mass testing, changing methods of calculating cases and deaths. And despite the situation spiraling out of control, China maintains the situation is manageable.
目前疫苗接种率不断提高，救治能力不断增强，医疗物资产能不断扩大，总体供应充足。 中国疫情防控形势总体是可预判、可控的。相信中国人民团结应对，很快将迎来经济社会平稳有序发展的新阶段。中方始终本着负责任的态度，同世卫组织和国际社会分享有关信息，愿继续同国际社会团结合作，更好地应对疫情挑战。
Can China be trusted when it comes to COVID? What is China trying to hide by suppressing data? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Windscreens of 4 trucks were damaged here in Dharchula, a border town, and their drivers had to jump into the Kali River to save themselves as they were attacked with stones from Nepal. The attack had been one of the several such launched in the past few days from across the border against Indian workers engaged in the construction of a safety wall along the Kali River. Take a look at this report.
Stones being pelted, workers attacked, workers forced to jump into the river to save their lives. Nepal clearly trying to disrupt the construction work.
नेपाल की साइड से लगातार 11वीं बार पत्थरबाजी हुई है। लगातार 1 घंटे तक पत्थरबाजी चली है, जिससे कि हमारा काम बाधित रहा है। इसी दौरान पत्थरबाजी के दौरान 2 डंपर और 1 पोखरण का शीशा टूटा है, साथ ही ड्राइवर को चोट भी आई है। अगर इसी तरह से पत्थरबाजी चलती रहेगी तो हम काम करने में असमर्थ रहेंगे और हमें यहीं पर काम को रोकना पड़ेगा। तो हमारी प्रशासन से गुहार है कि इन पर अंकुश लगाया जाए और जो पत्थरबाजी कर रहे हैं उनके नाम पर FIR हो और कोई ना कोई कदम उठाया जाए।
हमारा काम ऑलरेडी 10-15 दिन डिले हो चुका है और ऐसी स्थिति में यदि काम बाधित होता रहेगा तो हमें घटगाड़ पोर्शन में काम कम समय पर करने में बहुत कठिनाई होगी, जिसके बाद आपदा काल में संपूर्ण धारचूला खतरे में आ जाएगा। ऐसी स्थिति में यहाँ पे कुछ सुरक्षा का इंतजाम होना चाहिए ताकि लेबर भी है और भी लोग यहाँ काम कर रहे हैं तो उनको किसी भी तरह का जान माल का नुकसान ना हो। आज भी 2 डंपर ये इनके शीशे टूटे हैं और ड्राइवर भी बाल बचा है।
Windscreens of 4 trucks were damaged here in Dharchula, which is a border town, and Indian workers were attacked with stones from the Nepal side. The attack had been one of the several such launched in the past few days from across the border against the Indian workers who are engaged in the construction of a safety wall along Kali River. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has assured that India shares friendly relations with Nepal and that if at all there is a dispute, it will be resolved peacefully.
नेपाल देखो हमारी फ्रेंडली कंट्री ही नहीं बल्कि मैं कहूँगा कि सचमुच नेपाल मेरा भाई है। ये जस्ट लाइक ए ब्रदर, एक भाई की तरह हम नेपाल के साथ संबंध रखते हैं, उसे अपने परिवार के रूप में देखते हैं। इसलिए यदि कोई समस्या होगी तो मिल बैठकर उस मामले को सुलझा लेंगे। बहुत अच्छे रिश्ते बनाकर चलने वाले लोग।
A safety wall is being built in Dharchula along Kali River, which flows between the two countries. Will India raise the issue diplomatically with Nepal to ensure safety of workers? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Police registered a case against 7 people associated with a Christian missionary for mass conversion in the newly constructed building of an NGO in Devdung area. Case was registered under the Uttarakhand Religious Freedom Act.
देखिए वो कुछ स्थानीय स्तर पर छुटमुट घटनाएं हुई हैं, लेकिन दोनों देशों के स्तर पर कहीं पर भी ऐसी बात नहीं है। हमारा जो नेपाल के साथ इस सीमांत क्षेत्र में रहने वाले लोगों के साथ जो रोटी बेटी का संबंध है, जो हमारा एक सांस्कृतिक संबंध है, जो हमारा पूजा पद्धति का संबंध है, हमारा रहन सहन का जो संबंध है, वो संबंध बना रहेगा। हमारा भाईचारा है और वो बहुत पुराना भाईचारा है और आगे बना रहेगा। हम दोनों ही देश एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ेंगे।
This comes a day after a function was organized in the newly constructed building of an NGO in Devdung area, in which people of a particular religion had invited some local people, including about a dozen people of Nepali origin. The villagers reached there and created ruckus alleging mass conversion, after which the police registered a case under the Uttarakhand Religious Freedom Act against 7 Christian missionaries. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
After After Indian and Chinese troops clash along the line of actual control in Tawang, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said his country is ready to work with India through steady and sound growth. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs in its statement agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue with China. Here is the full report.
Days after Indian and Chinese troops clashed along the line of actual control in Tawang, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi said his country is ready to work with India through steady and sound growth. Addressing the reporters on India-China relations, Wang Yi asserted that both the countries are committed to upholding stability in the border area. Prior to this, both the countries held the 17th round of the India-China Corps Commander level meeting at the Chushul-Moldo border meeting point on the Chinese side on 20th December 2022. Despite the fact that India gave befitting reply to China.
9 दिसंबर 2022 को पीएलए ट्रुप्स ने तवांग सेक्टर के यांगसे एरिया में लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल पर अतिक्रमण कर स्टेटस को एक तरफा बदलने का प्रयास किया। चाइना के इस प्रयास का हमारी सेना ने दृढ़ता के साथ सामना किया है, अध्यक्ष महोदय।
Congress yet again attacked BJP over border clash.
In Arunachal, China has illegally encroached upon our land and made villages. In Doklam, from where we pushed them back in 2017, they have now built a Pakka road alongside Mochu River. Don't believe the words of China, believe actions. And when will Prime Minister ensure that status quo ante, as on April 2020, will be restored in the sense that China will be pushed back from its brazen incursions into Indian territory?
Meanwhile, responding to China, the MEA in its statement assured that the two sides agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue through military and diplomatic channels and work out a mutually acceptable resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
BJP leader Chandraprabha Tiwari slapped BJP leader Neelam Chaube on stage during the 25th National Volleyball Championship closing ceremony. Now, reports say that the two leaders clashed over sitting arrangements on stage during the event. As seen in the video, BJP leader Chandraprabha Tiwari got up from her chair in the middle of an argument with Neelam Chaube, who shared the stage with her. Moments later, the argument got fierce and Tiwari slapped Chaube in front of all senior dignitaries on the stage. In the 25th National Volleyball Championship organized by Madhya Pradesh Volleyball Association in Panna, Gujarat in the men's category and West Bengal in the women's category became the champions. As BJP State President and Regional MP V.D. Sharma was also present to grace the occasion and congratulate the players in Panna, these leaders got caught in their own personal fight on stage. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Viewers, the Indian security forces unearthed a hideout allegedly made by Pakistan in North Kashmir's Uri, where terrorists had dropped weapons using the tunnel to push the arms and ammunition on the Indian side of the border. And in the Republic exclusive, we're getting you the visuals you see on the screen of a hideout busted in Uri and massive cache of arms and ammunitions which have been recovered. Here's more.
As we talk about the recent arms and ammunitions that have been recovered by the joint forces in Hatlanga sector of Uri, North Kashmir, we are saying this is the biggest cache of arms and ammunitions recovered, although the tunnel has been used to push the arms and ammunitions before they could do any such untoward incident. The recovery was done by the joint forces. Talking about the kind of arms and ammunitions and the weapons that have been put on display here by the Indian Army. But yes, I can take you to the board where the recoveries are clearly mentioned here as we talk about the AK-74 RIF. They are 8 in number. Similarly, the AK-74 magazines, 24 in number, Chinese pistols, then magazines and also AK-74 rounds, the crystals, the Chinese grenades, the Pakistan origin hand grenade, the balloons are there, the markings and the synthetic guni bags that carry the wheat and other things have been recovered by the Indian Army. Also, the Indian Army here is displaying the pictures of the weapons that have been recovered by the joint forces. The recovery shows the hand grenades that is of the Pak origin, and similarly the Chinese made grenades that have been recovered in this very tunnel. So this is one of the important cache of arms and ammunition, and one of the biggest recoveries of the 2022 from the North Kashmir. This tells you that apart from the infiltrators, though we have seen the number of operations at the line of control, if we talk about the figures of 2022, 172 terrorists neutralized at line of control as well as the hinterland by the joint forces, although the majority of the int has come from the Jammu and Kashmir police as far as the operations, the anti-terror operations are concerned. But despite the ceasefire agreement intact, we are seeing that now not the violations are taking place, but yes, the infiltration is there. At the same time, we are seeing the Pak pushing the ammunition. If I ask my VJ over for those to show you, this is what they have recovered. Whether we talk about the Pak, you have seen the Pak balloons, then the pistols, which also tells you about the kind of weapons that have been recovered. See, this is the bullets and also the AK-47 and other things that have been recovered by the Indian Army along with the Jammu and Kashmir police, because this is the recovery of the joint forces. Yesterday also they have given a press conference where they have mentioned about the number of arms and ammunition that have been recovered by the joint force. This is one of the biggest operations, because had these weapons come to the hinterland and the kind of damage it would have caused, but that tragedy has been definitely averted, because we are seeing the number of pistols that have been coming to the hinterland. The huge recoveries were made by Jammu and Kashmir police, also in the Indian Army, as far as apart from the Srinagar is concerned, to avert any kind of issue. Because if you talk about as far as the target killings are concerned, most of the times in these target killings the weapon like pistols have been recovered, and here once again the pistols are being displayed. That tells you that pistols are coming from the Pakistan. And also, as has been pointed out by the chief of J&K police, DG Dilbag Singh, that the Pakistan used the weapon like pistols and giving the instruction to the people, handlers here, that who to target and when to target, and small weapons are easy to carry, as also pointed by ADGP Kashmir Vijay Kumar. Meanwhile, we have seen a number of statements coming from GOC 15 Corps Lieutenant General AGS Ojala, who has been pointing out that Pakistan don't want to see the peace in the Kashmir Valley, trying to disrupt the situation on ground by carrying the target killings, because majority of the leaders, the group leaders, or we talk about the commandants of the different outfits, be it the Jaish, Lashkar, Hizbul Mujahideen or any other terror outfit, this time the forces have been utilizing all those terror commanders, and the ones we have seen that as far as the 3 districts of the Kashmir Valley is concerned, no local terrorist is alive. So this is the kind of ammunitions that have been recovered by the forces as far as this tunnel is concerned, and the operation has taken place in the Hatlanga sector of the Uri, which is almost more than 100 kilometers from the Srinagar city. So this is the recovery that has been done by the joint forces, one of the biggest operations carried by the joint forces in North Kashmir, where such a huge cache of arms and ammunitions have been recovered.
Well, as I covered earlier also, you see the number of terrorists in Kashmir Valley and the availability of warlike stores is at an all-time low. So there is great desperation from the other side to infiltrate terrorists, as also smuggle warlike stores and drugs to fund their terrorism activities in the valley. And since the heavy snowfall is yet to come in, these kind of attempts continue to be reported and continue to manifest. And as I had covered, this is not an isolated incident, but in the year we have had 8 or 9 such attempts made, and resulting in recovery of large number of warlike stores and drugs, and this being the largest in the recent times.
So how do you see, was it the operation quite challenging because it is just near the mountain ridge?
See, as also was covered by the commanding officer, here firstly the line of control runs along the middle of a nala called Hatlanga Nala. It has got huge boulders and dense undergrowth on either side, so there is a lot of cover available, and it's difficult to monitor the movement. Secondly, in the winter, the temperatures being low, there is very dense fog from midnight to early part of the morning. As was also brought out, the LC fence is about more than 1,000 meters behind the line of control, and between the fence and the line of control we have almost 50 odd houses of Hatlanga village. The villagers, because of the ceasefire understanding and the normalcy which is obtaining, are being encouraged to carry out their cultivation activities, tend to their cattle or collect firewood right up to the line of control. So that poses a certain degree of challenges in terms of monitoring and supervision of trans-LC activities in stretches like this. But we have multiple channels of monitoring and surveillance, including technical intelligence and support of the local population. So any attempt of this nature, we would like to believe, is checked at the line of control itself.
Sir, the quantity is huge, as you talked about the search operations there for so many days. So for how many days the search operation was launched after getting the suspicious moments?
Well, in this case, the first inputs had come about 2 weeks back, and they were from both central agencies as also the state intelligence agencies, our own sources in this area. And consequent to deployment for over a week and some suspected movement being picked up on the radars across the line of control close to the so-called launch pads, we had carried out a detailed search of the area which did not yield any result in the previous week. In this particular case, a night before, some movement was again, suspicious movement was noticed, and again a search operation was mounted yesterday, as it was covered that once the fog lifted at about 9:30, 10, from there onwards for almost 8 to 10 hours the search was carried out. And
from United Nations to the US to even India, the regressive diktat that has been passed by the Taliban on women has drawn massive criticism from across the globe. Now, in the latest diktat that has been passed by the Taliban, states that women will also no longer be allowed to work at non-governmental organizations. This, of course, comes days after another such diktat was passed by the Taliban, which said that women will no longer be allowed to pursue higher education in Afghanistan. Women across Afghanistan have taken to the streets, raising slogans against a Taliban ban on their higher education. The protesters in the capital, Kabul, besides in Nangarhar, Takhar and even Herat, have braved water cannons in biting cold conditions, as per reports. Not just this, even male students have come out in open solidarity for the women who will no longer be allowed to pursue higher education and will also be not allowed to work at non-governmental organizations in Afghanistan.
$11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
सोच रहा हूँ कमेंट्री ट्राई करूँ। मैच का आखिरी बॉल, तेज तूफानी डिलीवरी, एक धमाकेदार शॉट और ये गया छक्का।
छक्का नहीं, टूटा। आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MY के लेटिक्रीट टाइल एडेसिव। फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
अब जियो मार्ट की ग्रैंड फिनाले सेल में फूड और ग्रोसरीज पे मिलेगा अप टू 50% ऑफ। तो साल जैसा भी गया हो, एंडिंग तो जबरदस्त होगी।
For how long will you continue being tensed about the future? Pension can free you from future's tension. With LIC's new Pension Plus, make your own pension plan because this plan creates market-linked wealth for your future. Moreover, this plan comes with guaranteed additions and also offers various options for receiving pension so that you grow young and tension-free. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
Even as COVID horror videos continue to emerge, China stops publishing daily COVID data. Day after seen walking in Bharat Joro Yatra, Kamal Haasan triggers language debate, says imposing Hindi is ignorant. Mathura Gandhi 8 takes to Twitter, insults Vajpayee on his birth anniversary as the nation pays its homage. Co-actor Shizan in 4-day police custody. Actor Tunisha Sharma's uncle alleges Tunisha was being harassed. Days after clashes in Tawang sector, China releases first official response, says they're ready to work with India. Indian workers attacked along the Nepal border in Uttarakhand. Rajnath says will solve the dispute together. On the birth anniversary of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as the nation remembers and pays homage to one of its tallest leaders, here is one Congress at it again. Now, a Congress leader, Gaurav Pandhi, in a tweet has launched an attack on Atal Bihari Vajpayee, calling him a British informer. He goes on to make outrageous allegations against the former Prime Minister. There has been massive anger over Congress leader's tweet. BJP has reacted to the controversy first broken in Republic. Here is a full story.
It's a day marked as Good Governance Day as the nation pays tribute to former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his birth anniversary. But Vadra Congress has undermined the legacy of Vajpayee and insulted the statesman. Rahul Gandhi's aide, who is in the inner circle of Congress President Kharge, Gaurav Pandhi, has called Vajpayee a British informer and a person who incited mob. The comment has triggered a huge backlash from the BJP.
Congress party once again through Rahul Gandhi's closest aide, Mr. Gaurav Pandhi, has launched a completely unfounded, baseless and a defamatory attack on Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on the day we are celebrating his legacy. This is not a sayog, this is a prayog, because the first family of the Congress has always insulted the icons of Bharatiyata. This has become a plan and a strategy of the first family that any person who is a leader outside the family must be abused and insulted.
This is clear that this is the blessing of Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra. They all have blessing on Gaurav Pandhi. Otherwise, how can a leader issue a statement and then would not withdraw back even in spite of being in the media? This categorically states that hathi ke daant dikhane ke kuch aur hai, khane ke kuch aur hai.
A day ahead of Rahul Gandhi's tribute at Atal Samadhi, this insult from a Congress exposes Vadra Congress's hypocrisy. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And Kamal Haasan, who was seen walking in Bharat Jodo Yatra with Rahul Gandhi on Saturday, triggered a fresh language debate. In a tweet, Haasan said that imposing Hindi on others is ignorant. He is not only one speaking against Hindi. In fact, he just is seen to be following Rahul Gandhi's footsteps, who has made anti-Hindi remarks just a few days back. Here is the full story.
A day after he walked along Rahul Gandhi in the national capital, actor turned politician Kamal Haasan has triggered the language debate. He tweeted in Tamil that translates to, "Mother tongue is our birthright. Learning and using other languages is done by personal choice. This has been the right of South India for 75 years. Northeast will reflect the same. To develop Hindi and impose it on others is ignorant. What is imposed will be opposed." This comes 6 days after Rahul Gandhi had attacked Hindi.
ये नहीं चाहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान का गरीब, किसान का बेटा, मजदूर का बेटा अंग्रेजी सीखे। इसका कारण है क्योंकि वो चाहते हैं कि आप बड़े सपने ना देखो, मगर अगर आप बाकी दुनिया से बात करना चाहते हो, चाहे वो अमेरिका के लोग हों, जापान के लोग हों, इंग्लैंड के लोग हों, तो वहां हिंदी काम नहीं आएगी, वहां अंग्रेजी ही काम आएगी.
But here's a fact check. There has been no imposition of Hindi by centre. In fact, the government has been promoting regional languages. On Saturday, Finance Minister had made a pitch for MBBS course in Tamil. So is there an attempt to create a divide in India on linguistic basis? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
This co-star and accused Shizan has been sent to 4-day custody in connection with TV actor Tunisha Sharma's case. Tunisha's family, on the other hand, has accused Shizan of harassing Tunisha. Here are all the developments throughout the day.
A day after 21-year-old actor Tunisha Sharma allegedly committed suicide on the sets of a TV series, her co-star Shizan M. Khan has been arrested and sent to 4-day police custody on charges of abetment of suicide.
हमें हॉस्पिटल से इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला था तो वहाँ पे पुलिस पहुँच गई। बाद में पुलिस ने डेड बॉडी को इंक्वेस्ट पंचनामा करके हॉस्पिटल भिजवाया।
मौके वारदात पे आपने क्या-क्या देखा, किस तरीके से उसके गले पर निशान था, क्या कुछ आया?
हाँ, गले पे तो निशान था, हैंगिंग की वजह से गले पे निशान था और पोस्टमार्टम हुआ है उसका। जो पुलिस का पार्ट है जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन का वो पूरा करेगी।
प्राइमा फेसी आपको क्या लग रहा है?
वही तो उसका ब्रेकअप होने के बाद उसने आत्महत्या कर दी है।
The arrest was based on Tanisha's mother's complaint. The actor's family has accused Shizan of harassment.
तनीषा की मम्मी ने उसको समझाया था कि बेटा अगर ब्रेकअप भी है जो भी है, पहले तो आप इतना ज़्यादा क्लोज आए, अब अचानक से एकदम से दूर जा रहे हो तो फिर वो 20 साल की है सिर्फ, तो वो इतनी समझ नहीं है उसमें अभी। तो थोड़ा पहले आप घर बुलाते थे, आपकी मम्मी भी बुलाती, सब बुलाते थे, अब अचानक से क्या हो गया? तो वो इसी स्ट्रेस में थी पिछले 10-15 दिन।
अभी इस मामले को आप लोग कहाँ तक लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि इसको लोग लव जिहाद मान रहे हैं कि शिजान ने जानबूझकर ऐसा किया एक मासूम लड़की के साथ?
वो मुझे नहीं पता, बट अगर कोई दोषी है तो उसको कानून के हिसाब से सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए।
But there are many questions surrounding the death of the young actor. With no suicide note found, the investigation against Shizan is based on family's allegations.
हमने फुल कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन में, जो उनको इंक्वायरी चाहिए, जैसा मोबाइल चाहिए, जो डिटेल चाहिए हमने सब दिया है। हमारी तरफ से कहीं भी हम कम नहीं पड़ रहे हैं।
जो आरोप लगाया गया है कि वो हरेस करता था, मारपीट करता था, वो सच है?
नहीं, ऐसा कोई
परिवार की तरफ से
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, कोई ऐसा एलिगेशंस पे कोई भी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, ना कोई है, और ऐसा कुछ एलिगेशंस पे कोई सवाल भी नहीं हुआ है बेसिकली। बट ये चीज़ सब गलत है। जो भी हमने सब सारा सिचुएशंस कोर्ट के सामने भी रखा, पुलिस स्टेशन में भी रखा हुआ है, और हमारी तरफ से सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हम दे रहे हैं।
Was Tanisha harassed and driven to death? What is Shizan's role in her death? Was it a suicide or is there something more than what meets the eye? Investigation is focused on answering these questions. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Viewers, amid global COVID upsurge, China stops publishing daily COVID cases amid fresh surge. China's National Health Commission, which used to show the country's COVID-19 case figures on a daily basis starting Sunday, stopped publishing the update, according to the Global Times. The move comes in the backdrop of a Radio Free Asia report that nearly 250 million people in China may have been infected by COVID-19 in just 20 days after the zero COVID policy was diluted in the first week of the month. Here's more.
Funeral homes are running out of space. Dead bodies are being kept in parking lot. Bodies are piling up and containers are being used to transport them. The horror unravels in major cities of China. With no space to keep the dead bodies, and amid the controversy, it seems China is pushing for further secrecy. As per Chinese mouthpiece Global Times, China's National Health Commission, which used to issue the country's COVID-19 case figures on a daily basis, has now stopped publishing COVID data.
Numbers according to leaked documents and estimates of China are staggering. According to leaked documents, it is known that around 248 million people were infected with COVID-19 from December 1st to 28th, or 17.65% of the population. And not just that, 37 million people were infected on one single day, December 28th, which is very different from what the government officials of China officially say.
China is already under scrutiny for stopping mass testing, changing methods of calculating cases and deaths. And despite the situation spiraling out of control, China maintains the situation is manageable.
目前疫苗接种率不断提高，救治能力不断增强，医疗物资产能不断扩大，总体供应充足。中国疫情防控形势总体是可预判、可控的。 相信中国人民团结应对，很快将迎来经济社会平稳有序发展的新阶段。中方始终本着负责任的态度，同世卫组织和国际社会分享有关信息，愿继续同国际社会团结合作，更好地应对疫情挑战。
Can China be trusted when it comes to COVID? What is China trying to hide by suppressing data? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Windscreens of 4 trucks were damaged here in Dharchula, border town, and their drivers had to jump into the Kali River to save themselves as they were attacked with stones from Nepal. The attack had been one of the several such launched in the past few days from across the border against Indian workers engaged in the construction of a safety wall along the Kali River. Take a look at this report.
Stones being pelted, workers attacked, workers forced to jump into the river to save their lives. Nepal clearly trying to disrupt the construction work.
नेपाल की साइड से लगातार 11वीं बार पत्थरबाजी हुई है। लगातार 1 घंटे तक पत्थरबाजी चली है, जिससे कि हमारा काम बाधित रहा है। इसी दौरान पत्थरबाजी के दौरान 2 डंपर और 1 पोखरण का शीशा टूटा है, साथ ही ड्राइवर को चोट भी आई है। अगर इसी तरह से पत्थरबाजी चलती रहेगी तो हम काम करने में असमर्थ रहेंगे और हमें यहीं पर काम को रोकना पड़ेगा। तो हमारी प्रशासन से गुहार है कि इन पर अंकुश लगाया जाए और जो पत्थरबाजी कर रहे हैं उनके नाम पर FIR हो और कोई ना कोई कदम उठाया जाए।
हमारा काम ऑलरेडी 10-15 दिन डिले हो चुका है और ऐसी स्थिति में यदि काम बाधित होता रहेगा तो हमें घटगाड़ पोर्शन में काम कम समय पर करने में बहुत कठिनाई होगी, जिसके बाद आपदा काल में संपूर्ण धारचूला खतरे में आ जाएगा। ऐसी स्थिति में यहाँ पे कुछ सुरक्षा का इंतजाम होना चाहिए ताकि लेबर भी है और भी लोग यहाँ काम कर रहे हैं तो उनको किसी भी तरह का जान माल का नुकसान ना हो। आज भी 2 डंपर ये इनके शीशे टूटे हैं और ड्राइवर भी बाल-बाल बचा है।
Windscreens of 4 trucks were damaged here in Dharchula, which is a border town, and Indian workers were attacked with stones from the Nepal side. The attack had been one of the several such launched in the past few days from across the border against the Indian workers who are engaged in the construction of a safety wall along Kali River. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has assured that India shares friendly relations with Nepal and that if at all there is a dispute, it will be resolved peacefully.
नेपाल देखो हमारी फ्रेंडली कंट्री ही नहीं बल्कि मैं कहूँगा कि सचमुच नेपाल मेरा भाई है। ये जस्ट लाइक ए ब्रदर, एक भाई की तरह हम नेपाल के साथ संबंध रखते हैं, उसे अपने परिवार के रूप में देखते हैं। इसलिए यदि कोई समस्या होगी तो मिल बैठकर उस मामले को सुलझा लेंगे, बहुत अच्छे रिश्ते बनाकर चलने वाले लोग।
A safety wall is being built in Dharchula along Kali River, which flows between the 2 countries. Will India raise the issue diplomatically with Nepal to ensure safety of workers? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Police registered a case against 7 people associated with a Christian missionary for mass conversion in the newly constructed building of an NGO in Devdung area. Case was registered under the Uttarakhand Religious Freedom Act.
देखिए वो कुछ स्थानीय स्तर पर छुटमुट घटनाएं हुई हैं, लेकिन दोनों देशों के स्तर पर कहीं पर भी ऐसी बात नहीं है। हमारा जो नेपाल के साथ इस सीमांत क्षेत्र में रहने वाले लोगों के साथ जो रोटी बेटी का संबंध है, जो हमारा एक सांस्कृतिक संबंध है, जो हमारा पूजा पद्धति का संबंध है, हमारा रहन सहन का जो संबंध है, वो संबंध बना रहेगा। हमारा भाईचारा है और वो बहुत पुराना भाईचारा है और आगे बना रहेगा। हम दोनों ही देश एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ेंगे।
This comes a day after a function was organized in the newly constructed building of an NGO in Devdung area, in which people of a particular religion had invited some local people, including about a dozen people of Nepali origin. The villagers reached there and created ruckus alleging mass conversion, after which the police registered a case under the Uttarakhand Religious Freedom Act against 7 Christian missionaries. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
After Indian and Chinese troops clash along the line of actual control in Tawang, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said his country is ready to work with India through steady and sound growth. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs in its statement agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue with China. Here is the full report.
Days after Indian and Chinese troops clashed along the line of actual control in Tawang, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi said his country is ready to work with India through steady and sound growth. Addressing the reporters on India-China relations, Wang Yi asserted that both the countries are committed to upholding stability in the border area. Prior to this, both the countries held the 17th round of the India-China Corps Commander level meeting at the Chushul-Moldo border meeting point on the Chinese side on 20th December 2022. Despite the fact that India gave befitting reply to China.
9 दिसंबर 2022 को PLA ट्रुप्स ने तमाम सेक्टर के यांसे एरिया में लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल पर अतिक्रमण कर स्टेटस को एक तरफा बदलने का प्रयास किया। चाइना के इस प्रयास का हमारी सेना ने दृढ़ता के साथ सामना किया है, अध्यक्ष महोदय।
Congress yet again attacked BJP over border clash.
In Arunachal, China has illegally encroached upon our land and made villages. In Doklam, from where we pushed them back in 2017, they have now built a Pakka road alongside Mochu River. Don't believe the words of China, believe actions. And when will Prime Minister ensure that status quo ante as on April 2020 will be restored in the sense that China will be pushed back from its brazen incursions into Indian territory?
Meanwhile, responding to China, the MEA in its statement assured that the two sides agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue through military and diplomatic channels and work out a mutually acceptable resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
BJP leader Chandraprabha Tiwari slapped BJP leader Neelam Chaube on stage during the 25th National Volleyball Championship closing ceremony. Now, reports say that the two leaders clashed over sitting arrangements on stage during the event. As seen in the video, BJP leader Chandraprabha Tiwari got up from her chair in the middle of an argument with Neelam Chaube, who shared the stage with her. Moments later, the argument got fierce and Tiwari slapped Chaube in front of all senior dignitaries on the stage. In the 25th National Volleyball Championship organized by Madhya Pradesh Volleyball Association in Panna, Gujarat in the men's category and West Bengal in the women's category became the champions. As BJP State President and Regional MP V.D. Sharma was also present to grace the occasion and congratulate the players in Panna, these leaders got caught in their own personal fight on stage. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Viewers, the Indian security forces unearthed a hideout allegedly made by Pakistan in North Kashmir's Uri, where terrorists had dropped weapons using the tunnel